Hello, spotheads all over the world. It's Jake here, and it's with a heavy heart for me to share with you that. No, I'm joking, it's not actually that deep. But unfortunately, we did have some technical issues with this episode. We got some echo issue going on with me and Matt's microphones. Now, of course, we are using new software, new hardware, so there is a little bit of a learning curve right now. As you know, we have Nick on board, our producer. We actually weren't going to release this episode, but it's 2 hours and 16 minutes of chat all about the transfer market, and we thought that some of you might actually appreciate it and might put up with the technical issues. Yeah, we managed to put on a filter, to apply a filter to the audio, and that should make it a little bit more bearable, but it will sound strange at times, and it's definitely not our proudest work. Just to confirm, of course, we are constantly striving to improve our product, and we will be working very closely with Nick, of course, to resolve this issue, figure out what happened, and fix it together. Shout out to Nick, who has been working tirelessly to try to make something out of this episode, and the fact that you're even getting an episode is all thanks to him. So drop him a thanks in the comments below, guys. Thank you very much for your patience. Hello and welcome back to Serie A Spotlight. We're your hosts Jake and Matt.
You know what time it is?
I can't tell you guys enough how much you've been my internal monologue when thinking about football for the last year.
Yes! Amazing!
We get to record while drinking some wine. Jake and I will have a very special soft spot for Salernitana.
we love him.
We love him. Stop zooming in on Allegri's face, bro. You're gonna make
How are
me
you
break.
exposing me?
Because you're gonna make me break, guys.
Hello and welcome back to Say Our Spotlight. This is episode 181 and we're your hosts Jake and Matt here to run you through all the latest transfers in Serie A.
Yes, this isn't a full transfer breakdown of all the transfers that have taken place so far this summer. However, it's the updates that we simply haven't spoken about and basically the breaking news. We are also joined with our producer, Nick, of course.
Hey guys,
How are you, brother?
I'm doing great to be honest. Glad to be back here again. It's been a week of missing being on the podcast,
Amazing.
and I just really enjoyed making last week's episode. The snippets I really enjoyed making too. It was just a blast, man. Overall, and I can't wait for more. That kind of thing.
That is great, bro. You love making snippets. We hate making snippets.
Cheers! Wow,
Cheers
to that.
Yes, to that.
Beautiful
And you so much better than us.
delicious.
Do check us out on social media, guys. You can see all of Nick's snippets from our episode. They're great. They're very funny.
TikTok, Twitter, YouTube.
TikTok, Twitter,
All of YouTube, Facebook, we're absolutely everywhere. Before we get into anything, as always, a massive shout out goes to our media partners, Benevo Bid. Check out our link in bio. You can get yourself some autographed items from top players, including match issued kits. There's currently a match issued kit of Retegui for Italy, signed by the entire Nazionale. Go check it out and get your bid in nice and early. There's also a Delivio kit. There's a Gullit kit. There's more kits than you can imagine. So check out our link in bio. Get your bids in. Most of the proceeds go to Pottino Cares, because if there's one person that cares, baby, you know it's Pottino.
Hell yes. So this is a win-win situation, guys. It's an opportunity for you to get yourself a kit and to feel good about spending money.
Speaking of spending money, Patreon, baby. Patreon. How do you think we have an improved setup? How do you think we afford the microphone for Nick? It is thanks to the great support that we get from our patrons. Shout out to all our beautiful patrons. If you would like to become a patron rather, check out our link in bio. It's $3.99 a month, and you'll be added to the latest group chat in Serie A history, and you'll also be added to a fantasy league where the winner wins a free kit.
Shout out to Joey D, who is, of course, the winner of the first ever edition of the Serie A Spotlight Fantasy League of this format.
Yes, of this format. We are thinking How are we going to improve it from last year? How are we going to make it better? Maybe.
We just have to get better at it, I think. I think it's just one of those situations where when you're bad at it, it's not really that fun. Yeah, because I was terrible. I had no idea what was going on, and thus I was too stubborn. I was way too into the wild card picks. So I had a bunch of players who had no business being near my team. Like I had Zortea early on, like I had Lucca. Like, you know what I mean? They're okay in the long run. They're okay once they find their footing, but you should definitely go for a safer player.
And be other pick me. You just choose the hipster ones, bro.
I'm a football hipster, I guess you can call me. Okay, guys, I think before we get into the team by team kind of confirmed signings and break them down and kind of see what they're doing over there, we should go into a few of the duels that are going on at the moment in the transfer market. We've got some players who are stuck in limbo between two teams. And we're just going to talk to say basically which team do you think would be the best option for this player. So we can start off with the formidable Rodrigo Becao, who we remember from his days at Udinese. He was notorious for scoring against Milan and for having the games of his life against Milan.
Every single time. Bad motherfucker. Bad motherfucker, Becao, man. He's physical. He likes to get up all in your ass, man. If you're playing against him, just know Becao's in your ass. He's pulling at your shirt. He's whispering not sweet nothings into your ear, but threatening you in your ear.
Savory everything is what he'd be whispering into your ear.
Absolutely, absolutely. And who are the clubs that are after Rodrigo Becao, formerly of Udinese?
Yes, it's actually Udinese again. And Atalanta. Which I like. I think he could do.
May I ask a question here? Who is he with currently?
So
It's a phenomenal
that's great. Rodrigo Becao was bought.
Is it Fenerbahce?
Yes.
It is Fenerbahce. I'm pulling up a picture right now.
Nice.
Look at these guys leaving Serie A, going to Turkey and coming back. It's not the first time you'll hear of this situation
In this episode.
in this episode.
Yeah. Rodrigo Becao, a face that you can never forget.
Yes, a very there's no disrespect to Becao, but a very punchable and frustrating face.
But yes, I think for me, from what I remember seeing at Udinese, I think he would be very well suited for Atalanta. He's very physical. I think he would thrive in a back three under Juric as well. Not bad. I think a move to Atalanta would be very good for him.
I'm not sure if Atalanta is the correct step to take after he left from Udinese to go to Fenerbahce. It feels like a bit of a bit of a leap, to be honest. But you never know what this new manager is looking for and how he's kind of looking to line up, because Becao is a profile that could bring a lot of grinta to a team. I think simply for the sake of his career, Atalanta would be a good move. I'm not too sure how much playing time he'll get. Again, Gasperini loved rotation. We don't know how Juric is going to be with rotation. Udinese, simply because they're a very physical side who love to man mark. He's obviously a good fit over there. But it would be interesting to see him get a step up. Why not? And maybe we'll see him play some football in the Champions League.
From what I have seen in the Super League in Turkey, he started 21 games across 2 seasons, which isn't great.
No.
I don't know if he had injuries or if it was a technical choice. I'm not too sure.
I feel like Atalanta might be...
If any of you listening are aware of Becao's current situation, please do let us know. But we will probably be seeing him in Serie A again, which takes us on to someone we know very well, brother. This is Liberato Cacace.
A very, very versatile player. He's from the New Zealand. He can play, well, his primary position is a left back, if I'm not mistaken. But we've also seen him playing a bit closer to goal for his previous employers, playing at full wing for Empoli. Empoli are a side that obviously you'll hear us talk about a lot of their former players in this episode, because they went down to B, and there's a lot of quality, especially the young Italians that they have around their team. So it's between
Pisa and Cremonese.
Two teams that utilize wingbacks quite effectively, one under Gilardino, and Cremonese, remind me, who's really on as a manager.
But Cremonese manager,
of course. Ooh. I would like to see him at at Pisa, to be honest.
Because they're less rigid, right?
They're less rigid. And I like the way Gilardino uses his wing backs. He uses them very effectively, and I think we'll see his best football playing in those positions. I think Davide Nicola looks a lot for resilience, and he looks for someone that's gonna bomb up and down, whereas Gilardino likes more technical players, which Cacace certainly is.
However, both seem like very good options for him because, of course, David and Nicola had Augello on one side last season, who got, what was it, 9 assists. And then on the other side, Zortea, who scored 6 goals. So,
Fair enough, man.
so yeah, two very clever choices by Liberato Cacace, in my opinion.
Yeah, best of luck, Libby.
Yes, looking forward to seeing more of you. The next one, of course, is one of the hottest talents in Italian football right now. He's a defender. He's only a teenager, and his name is Giovanni Leoni. And apparently, it's a Milan derby for this guy. It's Milan and Inter who are looking at his services. I'm not sure which move would be smarter for him.
Great question. Firstly, quality young player, and I think you could see his quality. I always say the same thing. I remember when we were watching Simic play for Milan, and everyone was saying how this guy's the next big centre back, and I said no, he's not, because he really shies away from tackles and he's constantly backing up. Leone doesn't shy away from tackles. He's a great reader of the game for his age, and he's incredibly physical. A very 90s Italian centre.
Yeah, man.
The way that I'm not going to say he physically he beat Lukaku physically. It's tough.
He helped muscle,
But
on many occasions.
there were occasions where Leoni, 18-year-old Leoni, was out muscling Lukaku
Yeah.
and man marking him and doing a fantastic job at that.
Slides in fearlessly, you know. He'll hit the entire side of his body in the follow-up.
Yeah.
The player, and he's not afraid of that. So I think personally, for me, considering Milan are playing only once a week and they actually have many options at the back. We're talking at the moment as it stands. There's Gabbia, there's Tomori, there's Pavlovic, there's Chow. And there must be one more that I'm forgetting, but there are already those guys for two positions.
Yeah.
And Milan play once a week, apart from the Coppa Italia. So I think when it comes to rotation and the fact that Inter typically play 3 at the back, that might actually be a better option for him for immediate game time.
There are pros to both decisions, and what a blessed situation Leone is in at the moment. And what a bunch of cash Parma are making, by the way. Leone. I think there are pros to both sides. I think going to a club like Inter, where there's the likes of Acerbi, De Vrij, Bastoni, those are guys that he could learn a lot from. I think individually, with the experience that he can get, Inter are probably better suited to teach him a thing or two. But Allegri managed the BBC. He managed Bonucci, Barzagli, Chiellini. He's managed some of the best centre backs in the world. And not to say they were the best centre backs in the world because they were managed by Allegri, but he certainly utilized them well and got the best out of them. So for me, I would say Milan because of Allegri.
You know, that's the reason I wouldn't say Milan.
Really?
Because Allegri's a great manager, don't get me wrong, but he's also very unforgiving when it comes to mistakes. He puts the team before anything else. There have been many situations where a player makes a mistake and Allegri takes him out immediately and you don't see him again for 3 weeks. That type of thing.
However, if we're looking at competition at 30 million, but if we're looking at a 30 million investment, I doubt that will be the case. I think that's quite a situational thing that Allegri would do.
But then you've got, for example, you know, he's already praised Gabbia as the example for everyone to follow in the team. So let's assume that Gabbia is his favorite centre back at the moment. He's going to be partnered by one more. Tomori in his prime, when he's at his best, is one of the best in the league. He's very good. You have Pavlovic, who definitely has qualities that many managers would appreciate in a starter. You've got Chow, who's kind of the perfect Allegri-esque centre back, because he can actually play the ball out despite him being linked with a move away, right? So there's a lot of competition, and the fact is there aren't many games for Milan next year. So I think in the immediate future, he has to consider that. You know, you have Inter who are under a young manager. It's a bit of a turning point. He has the opportunity to go there and kind of establish himself for the years to come.
I think he's in safer hands under a project led by a very experienced manager in Allegri, to be honest. I see where you're coming from, and it's a good step with Inter, but you're also going into the unknown. so to say.
Yeah.
Not to say that we're certain that Milan are going to have success under Allegri and that is going to be a long-term project, because maybe he flops, who the hell knows. But I don't think he will. And I think if I had to hand my career over to one man that's going to look after me and who's going to hone me, is this guy right here, bro. Is this guy right here.
Yeah.
It's Allegri. And I think, to be honest, game's gone soft blood. I think it's important to have a manager like Allegri who, if you make a mistake, he's going to bench you, or it's going to shut his confidence. If that shuts your confidence, maybe you shouldn't be playing at the top level, because if you're error prone in an important game, which every game is important when you're playing once a week, then you should be subbed out. You know, it's that cutthroat kind of style that Conte brings, that Inzaghi brought, you know, and when he didn't with Bissek, he kept on making the same errors. So perhaps it's the way to go.
Fair enough, fair enough. Let us know what you think in the comments and smash that like you up there. Smash it, smash that like button, smash it. Let's get them up. All right, the next one is Matteo Pessina. Oh, lovely player. Was at Monza, of course, was the captain at Monza. Siege relegated. Yes, before that he was at Atalanta. He's a Milan youth product, Matteo Pessina. He is currently torn between joining Vieira's Genoa or Baroni's Torino.
Ooh. A lot of competition in Torino's midfield at the minute.
Yes, I'll remember that Barel has just left Genoa. He's probably going down to Palermo or something.
I like the idea of. Oh, let me think actually.
Sure, I think personally, bro, Genoa is the safer place for him to get consistent minutes, especially with the fact that Fendrup is being maybe considered to be sold. Torino, on the other hand, have the more exciting thing going on at the moment with Baroni, but they do have more competition in midfield. So I don't know what I would do if I were. Well, they have just sold Ricci, to be fair. I think I'd go Torino and try to play for Baroni, man. Let us never know what the era's second season is going to give you. Historically, that doesn't go very well.
Look, I think Torino are a stable and staple Serie A team. Genoa came up 2-3 seasons ago. And they're also a team that hovers between Serie A and Serie B. So now if he's looking for a stable Serie A job, which I believe he's 28 years old, 29 years old, maybe that's what he's looking for. If you want that, sure, go for Torino. I doubt it will be very fun for him.
It might be with Baroni, bro. We forget it's Baroni who had Lazio as the winners of their group in the Europa League. The only group.
It is just hard to feel excited by Torino after the past 6 seasons that they've had, essentially. While Genoa play attacking, attractive football that will get the best out of Pessina, and I'd enjoy watching him more in Genoa's colours. Also a cooler brand, younger, sexier.
You know, Torino will be more offensive than Genoa, a lot more. I mean, with Genoa, we see Vieira playing it quite conservatively. We've seen him play Miretti and Torzi as the wingers in a 4-3-3, you know what I mean? Lots of central midfielders, lots of bodies, lots of physicality. They want to make the game a bit of a strudge, you know what I mean? That's that type of kind of team. Pessina's still only 28 years old, by the way.
28, my age.
Yeah. So yes, I vote Torino. You? What's your?
I'm gonna go Genoa. I'm gonna go Genoa.
Bro.
I think just as a club, I do picture him at Genoa more. Part of the reason is just that from the way that he plays. Like imagine him, Malinowski in him and Malinowski in midfield, with Junior Messias there as well. It would be it would certainly be something. But with Torino, and then he has missed games, Piastri, Vasede, Elmas, and a bunch of new guys that they brought in as well. It's a tight. I'm gonna stick to my guns and say,
I say Torino. Let us know what you think. Smash the like button. Federico Chiesa. So Federico Chiesa nowadays is 27 years old. Of course, you all know Chiesa. Apparently, it's between Milan and Napoli, which is a massive surprise for me, because Allegri's use of Chiesa when he was at Juventus was heavily criticized. That he was played out of position as a second striker, a tucked-in winger, He was overly constrained, so they limited his spontaneity, which is like the best thing about Chiesa, no? His ability to improvise and to kind of be spontaneous in certain situations. He was linking up with Vlahovic, and they were too far away from each other, and the build-up patterns were non-existent. And he was too tactically rigid. So I wonder why he will even want to consider playing for Allegri again.
It's a weird one, and this is something I've been noticing. Why is apparently Allegri so interested in Vlahovic and Chiesa? And everyone's saying because he works well with them. If you have two functioning guys like I do, you'd know that we often said on this podcast as well that Vlahovic doesn't fit an Allegri system, and Vlahovic wasn't using Chiesa to his strength. Oh, and Allegri wasn't using Chiesa to his strength. So I don't think Allegri with either of those players is the best fit. Chiesa would probably suit Milan because Milan tend to prefer a 4-3-3 formation, while although Napoli have been playing a 4-3-3 formation, I think everything points towards Conte trying to build that team to play a 3-5-2 with. For that reason, I think he fits Milan more, but he has to make peace with rotating with Pulisic when they're playing one game a week. I think Conte is the better man for him. I think if there's a manager that could revitalize Chiesa's career, we've seen Allegri try to do it. We haven't seen Conte. And Conte is notorious for that. He's done it with the likes of Lukaku, McTominay, so on and so forth. He did it with Eder and Graziano Pelle. He did it with Ashley Young. He did it with Victor Moses. He's done it with those guys. So I would say Napoli, to be honest.
I would say Napoli as well. I agree with you, bro.
Even if it's that Raspadori thing where he comes on and changes the system.
Exactly. So the examples I'm thinking of right now are Stone at Spurs and Perisic at Inter. Them are well leading on their hunt. They're not exactly defensive-minded players. I mean, Perisic a little bit more, but Son is a very offensive-minded player. You know what I mean? So Conte can definitely work with Chiesa, and he'll be a little bit more free tactically as well, because Conte does allow for improvisation in the final third and in the opposition half. So yes, I think it would be foolish of him to try Allegri again.
I would agree with you there. I would agree with you. And despite what I said about everything is pointing towards Conte going for a 3-5-2, not really, because they signed a certain Noah Lang that is a left winger.
Yeah,
So they technically need a right winger, you know?
that's true. More on Noah Lang very soon. So the last one that we'll be discussing from the guys who are currently torn is Lorenzo Lucca, of course, our baby. He has our 2 meter tall baby. He
He's a current daddy.
He's currently in limbo, apparently. So a bunch of clubs are evaluating their options and kind of like leaving him on red. He's currently closest to Milan and Napoli, apparently.
Now, this is where, as a Milan fan, I get frustrated with Milan because what message is it sending out to Lucca if Milan spent 35 million on Jimenez and after 6 months they're considering the possibility of offloading him?
To be fair, so that is absolutely whack, bro. That Milan are considering uploading them, denying as a result. Yes. So to be fair, Jimenez for now is the last one standing. Everyone around him is gone. So why that Jovic, he had a good open. So yeah, so I assume that Jimenez is untouchable. Someone will come to be his understudy, his replacement, for example, whenever he's injured or tired. And someone will come in to compete with him directly. I think two strikers will be bought. I think Lucca, apparently, the backup option for most teams, but he's not the priority, you know? For me personally, once again, I would have to go against Milan.
I'm going to go in favor of Milan.
Because look at this, bro. Who are the strikers who have done well under Allegri? These are Carlos Tevez, Mario Mandzukic, Alvaro Morata, Higuain, Keane, right?
But.
They're very technical, bro, is my point. They're extremely technical, extremely smart. Lucca is technical for his height. He's very good. But he's not as technical as the profiles are like.
But
And nimble.
you're right. You're right. But Allegri is specifically saying he wants a target man.
Mm-hmm.
And Lucca fits that profile. He's looking for a big target man to ping the ball to.
Yes.
And Lucca fits that. So if Allegri, who is an absolute visionary, wants this young guy to join the team and he fits the system perfectly, to choose the other team to at Napoli, you will probably be in and out with Lukaku while playing multiple competition,
yeah.
right? So it's good experience for him. At Milan, I feel like he'll fit the project a bit more because he is exactly what Milan have been very vocal about. One thing, they don't want someone like Jimenez, who they already have. They want someone like Lucca. So
On the
they
pull of the play.
exactly. So they only have one striker at the moment, Milan, which is Jimenez. Lucca comes in instantly, just from what profile the manager is after. Lucca's favorite.
Yeah.
So he's at a top team, and he will likely start.
But then the thing is, Milan aren't going to buy Lucca and stop. So for Milan, yes, it's great. You have this tactical outlet. You have a new option, a new dynamic you can play entirely. For Lucca himself, he's probably going to be third string. Depends. He'll be fighting.
Okay.
Because I think
Maybe Allegri saying he wants that kind of guy.
But Milan will buy a big striker. I think a big name striker.
But if they're gonna spend between 30 to 40 million,
And just will be 20 to 30.
you think Udinese are gonna accept that? Udinese have been very vocal. Milan view him as a 25 to 30. They view him as a 35 to 40.
Okay.
So if Milan are gonna spend that money on a striker, now Milan will get into it very soon. They're looking at a number of profiles up front. They're looking at Boniface. They're looking at Osimhen. They're looking at Retegui.
Yeah.
They're looking at Mateka.
Yeah.
So, but all these have one thing in common, bro. They're target men.
Yeah.
But I don't think they'll go for Lucca and Boniface, for example, or Grassi or whoever the hell they're looking at.
You know what I have to say though, bro?
Mm.
The strikers who have worked for Conte. Lukaku, Diego Costa, Lorente, Graziano Pelle.
Yeah, you're right.
Come on. Like, they are the Lucca mold A1, hey? And you look at all the competitions they're playing, I think he'll fit this Napoli team like a glove.
I will say Milan though, and I genuinely believe that he's better off at Milan.
Could be. Hopefully, I hope so. Because I do love Lorenzo Lucca.
Leave your comments, have your say, and smash the like button.
I got heated for a bit here. That's the room warming up. Your tensions are rising. I'm avoiding the tension.
What do you think, Nick?
What do I think? I have no fucking clue. I have no fucking clue.
You've watched Lucca?
No.
Watch Lucca.
Yeah,
It's so fun.
good fun.
Interesting.
After this, we're gonna put on a Lucca cold compilation for you.
Highlights. I'm down.
Perfect.
I'm down. Totally down.
Speaking of Milan, and we can jump straight to it.
So Richie has joined Milan. That is him in the cover photo because this was a hilarious exchange. First of all, by the way, our cover photos are not AI generated. I draw every single one of them. Right?
And fuck you, whoever says they are.
Yeah, right. No, I'm jumping. That guy on YouTube said, I hope they're not AI generated, and it's true they aren't. But then I put up a poll on Instagram, and like 30% voted AI. And that 30% voted you, bro. Little do they know you can't even draw a stick man.
The fuck? This is literally the only thing I can draw. A stickman. A stickman and a stickman. Like it's Lookman or something. A stickman and I could, obviously like every other guy in here, you could draw a good cock. Fuck yes.
It's nice. I remember once I got in trouble at school.
Yep.
Why? It's hi, is this Kevin? I am your son. Just drawing them everywhere.
I got in trouble for drawing two turtles having sex once, man. It was ridiculous.
So yes, in the cover photo, that is meant to be Richie as Tommy Shelby.
So I got to Jake's and he's like, I drew a cover I drew a cover art, and I'm like, perfect, show me. And he shows me a drawing of Tommy Shelby. I'm like, how good, bro? It's Tommy Shelby. He's like, no, it's Richie. I just tried to make him look as much like Tommy Shelby as possible. I'm like, why the fuck would you do that? Why would you make him not look like Richie as much as possible? He's like, oh, to be honest, we color to stop in red. Hopefully that will work. But Richie to Milan, huh?
I think he fits all three of the profiles that Milan are going after in one little man. So You have youth, you have experience, and you have Italian.
Yes, bro.
That's everything. I mean, Richie has played 259 games in his career. At the age of what, 22? How old is he, bro?
23.
23, exactly, which is very experienced. So he's been a key player, a very important piece of the Torino side for so long, and he even has international experience now.
A starter for the Italian absolute team. Now we'll see obviously how Gattuso utilizes him.
Yeah.
But this was the same guy that 6 months ago Guardiola wanted him, and he said he's the next thing. Definitely a good fit for Milan when you consider the midfield issues that Milan had last year. Milan didn't have two things. They didn't have someone to break down play, and they didn't have someone who was press resistant, a number six basically.
Yeah. A metronome.
A metronome.
A regista.
And Richie is literally that. And I think he's local, he's young. I think 25 million is an absolute steal. It's a
really good
joke.
It's good.
It's a joke because 6 months ago, City would have bought him for 40 to 50. And this, it fears me as a Milan fan because it screams profit in 2 years. I think Milan could easily make 40 million for him in 2 seasons if he plays up to scratch. But it's still be 25, 26 years old, still entering his prime. But this is hopefully someone Milan build a project around. I have no doubts that he'll perform well because we saw him at Torino. If you judge his performances by the amount of assists and goals that he's gonna contribute to, you're gonna be very disappointed. But he is that hard-working, calm mind that you need in midfield. I think he's a strong solution for that midfield balance Milan need.
Absolutely, bro. And it's a move that the player wanted. Urbano Cairo came out and said that they fulfilled the player's wishes by letting him go to Milan, and I'm sure they have to make it an amicable kind of departure. They have to probably settle for a price that they wouldn't have been too happy with, right? Because in reality, as you said correctly, they could definitely get a minimum of 30 million from Richie.
Exactly.
So yes, I'm very pleased with this one, bro. It actually gives some structure. A very key player. So yes,
The number 4 is what he's opted for.
yes,
Ooh, suits him.
it does. It does. Absolutely. So very excited to see Richie. He fits all the profiles that Milan are after. Milan have also lost Theo Hernandez, bro, to Al Hilal, Al Madones.
Al Madonna.
Al-Balla. One more. Al-Bostia. Al-Hanzira. Theo to Al-Hilal. So, obviously, Theo, it's an emotional one losing Theo. Theo is the last left back Milan had before Theo was Ricardo Rodriguez. He came, he was the understudy of Maldini. He was one of Milan's best players when Milan won the Scudetto and scored that goal against Atalanta in front of us. He had us both in tears, bro. Like, I can't believe Theo Hernandez just did that in front of us. I think you and I in particular have been in awe of Theo Hernandez for his entire spell at Milan.
I mean, he's just extremely fun as a player to have. He's extremely provocative and he's a shit house, you know. He loves to stir shit up and piss players off. He's extremely good at bombing forward. Defensively, I've always thought that it was a bit of a, like, people made a bit of a fuss about how poor he was defensively because his recovery speed was always so good that he would actually hardly ever get beaten. And when he would, it would just be when he was having those off days where he just seemed disinterested, to be honest. Those are always bizarre, those games.
I think it's so clear. So defensively, I agree with you. I think people made
A bit of a fuss.
a bit of a fuss because under Pioli, at a point, Pioli was popping him at center.
Of course.
So he had back and he was solid.
And like, you're gonna compare him, for example, who's better defensively, DeMarco or Theo Hernandez? Theo Hernandez is more another, yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah.
The one thing I'd say is he was so obviously affected by the departure of Maldini and by the departure of Pioli because he stopped giving a fuck after that. And we saw little spells of him last season when he started to give a fuck again. But he's clearly just that guy that's unhappy at his job, and sometimes someone motivates him after a meeting kind of thing, and then he performs, but then he drops up again. He wasn't happy anymore. And I respect Theo because he still wanted to stay at the top. He wanted to play for Atletico, he wanted to stay in Europe kind of thing. it's not simply that this guy wanted to go to Saudi and make money and waste his career away kind of thing. Not that you're obviously wasting your career away by going to Saudi, but he's a very ambitious player. I think it's a spell that we'll see him in Saudi for. I think he'll go do a season, 2 seasons. We'll see him back in Europe. Probably at like the likes of Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid, maybe if he continues to improve. He's in a good place with Simone Inzaghi, who definitely knows how to use a left wing back. He turned DiMarco into the best left wing back in the world. So I think he will continue to improve. For Milan, I think Milan get to focus on stability at left back. I don't think if you're looking solely at performances and stability, it's the worst thing in the world. It's devastating for people like us who love Teo and who are romantics about Milan. But I think Milan can focus on 4 defenders that defend. You know what I mean? 4 solid defenders.
I would have been curious, to be honest, to see him under Allegri. However, this does give Milan the opportunity to try out something new. It's been so long that Milan have been quite limited with this left side, with this Teo side. I mean,
Also, what was I gonna say? No, move on.
moving on.
Yeah.
Teo in the end actually had 262 games with Milan, scored 34 goals and got 45 assists. An absolute legend.
Milan is in top scorer out of the defenders in their history. Outscored Paolo Maldini in a way shorter time, obviously.
Yes. Now, bro, to be honest, I am completely disassociating every time I hear the word Yashari. So I'm gonna leave this one up to you.
So Yashari is a deep lying playmaker, but he's also very, very capable of playing in an 8. He's 22 years old. He's Swiss. He plays for Club Brugge, and he's done a season at Club Brugge. But he won MVP, and he's basically started every single game, and he had great performances in the Champions League. The things that I like about Yashari are, and I did watch him a couple of times, is his strength in possession of the ball. So once he has the ball, he has a great center of gravity, and it's very hard to take the ball off him. With that, it's paired with quite a bit of elegance. So he doesn't shy away from a 360 to beat his opponent in tight spaces, for example. Also, another strength of his is how calm he is on the ball and his distribution and his vision. He racks up a good amount of assists. And he can spot an intelligent pass. He's very safe, but he can also spot an intelligent forward pass. He loves to play the ball forward. I think alongside Ricci and Modric, his profile is perfect for a good balanced midfield, which is something that Milan didn't have. Because another thing to mention is he's super strong at tackling. He loves to get stuck in, and he's very, very physical, particularly for his age. His price tag is high.
It is high. That's the thing.
They want 40 million. They want 40 million without any bonuses. Milan are trying their best to get as close to 40 million, including bonuses. So right now, where they're at, I believe it's 33 million excluding bonuses, and with easy bonuses, it goes up to around 38. Because the whole thing is Club Brugge are apparently holding out over 3 million. Super tough negotiators.
Yeah, I mean, we're used to them. We had the whole decade to lie, I think.
Yeah, and I mean, look how that went. But I think Yashari is a safer. Just by the way, I watch him play because he has so much maturity and so much. The fact that his strengths lie on his physicality and his security, it gives me a lot more confidence than the Ketelare did. Because the Ketelare score a magnificent goal, dribble a player magnificently, and you say, okay, but can he do this consistently? Yashari is in a crucial role playing in the middle of the pitch, and you see him doing that consistently, and you're like, this would be a great signing for Milan.
He has won both the Player of the Year and the Young Player of the Year and the Pro League Awards as well in his life
And
and his career.
Dortmund like him as well. United like him as well now.
United.
Yeah. Well, now that's the thing. Dortmund being interested in him makes me say, nice. Milan are onto something good right now because Dortmund only sign good players. And I'm like, oh fuck, United are interested in him as well.
United are a rumor to everyone. You open it, you go Bet365 and go on the transfer specials. United are everywhere.
We are. Same with, what's his name, the keeper, the tall one?
Vanya. So
Vanya Milokovic-Savic. Yes, we were always linked to him as well.
you guys are just linked to whoever wins.
Yes, man.
Yeah.
Literally.
Crazy.
It's just like pipelines of like, and then they continue going for a bit.
Mhm.
Remember, we were linked for Cunha for a while, like before we signed him. Then we actually signed him. There were some others that I think there was a phase of Frankie De Jong once.
So,
Bro,
strong
it
phase.
is not stop, and he was there like, I don't want to go to United. He was like,
Under Ten Hag, I was like, oh, but you'll be reunited.
he was like, I'm so good here.
No, why would you go to 17th place or 16th place?
No, it was better. That it was like 8th. We won the FA Cup also, so that year's
we're not far off.
This Yashari is an ethnic Albanian, isn't he?
Oh my god! Can try not to die, Kim? Should I do it?
Yeah. What else was I gonna say about Yashari? Yashari is a Milan fan, and there's a lot, and there's a picture circulating of him as a kid. 2011, watching Milan Barca San Siro.
Hopefully, if Milan do sign him, they won't make it as cringe as when Tonali signed, man. They really milked it, you know, like the announcement video was Tonali as a kid in a Milan kit and all that. I mean, it's nice, but it feels a bit soulless when you milk it to oblivion, you know?
All right, grandpa.
Yeah. Andrea Conte was a Milan fan when he was a kid as well. And I had a tweet go viral when I said, don't let your dreams be dreams. I posted a picture.
So a point of the Conte was also born with a broken leg, the poor guy, man.
All right, I think we can move on to Allegri's 10 Commandments.
Oh,
Yes, so I think
I love these.
we should worship the booster.
Oh, he's moving.
So,
As I laughed at myself, you could go.
that's terrible news. So let's start with commandment number 1. So yes, this basically to give you some context. Gazzetta dello Sport basically tweeted out that Allegri has 10 commandments that he's going to use to change Milan and lead them to success, basically. So I don't know where the hell they got them from, but we're gonna react to them. So commandment number 1 is forget last season. We start from scratch.
Fuck yeah.
Yes, I mean, yes,
Fuck yeah.
fair enough. Rediscover the Milan DNA, the desire to win. Love that.
Yes, man.
Yes, great so far. Number 3, the first thought must be the team.
Fuck yeah.
Love that as well. When you have all these players that Milan have that tend to go for glory, man, and it's exhausting sometimes.
So sign Lucca so that he'll muscle everyone off the penaltiness.
But you remember last season we had, for example, Loftus Cheek who would just shoot stupidly, or Reinders sometimes who wouldn't look at the pass. You know, it's very tiring.
Yeah.
From day 1, double training sessions.
Oh yeah.
Rule number 5, without European competitions, we work hard during the week.
Yes, that genuinely, I love that. I love that. Double down in training. Everyone else is playing. Let's not just rest. Let's use that time to our advantage and train together as a.
This reminds me of contest system at Napoli.
Exactly.
So Nick, listen to this. So there was a player who basically was asked like what training is like with Conte, and he said it's brutal. He said we train so hard. He said, but then during the game, that's the time when we enjoy ourselves.
Oh shit.
So like they go so hard during training that the game doesn't feel.
Oh shit. That's great.
Yeah. No lateness or you're out of the squad. Gee, my girlfriend would be fucked. Should be fucked. Yeah.
My girlfriend would be fucked to the lateness is the period. What?
Yeah.
So I have something to tell you guys.
No phones during meetings, meals, or in the locker room. Like that as well, huh? However, I will miss the lives. Milan tend to go live, the players in the...
Just win a trophy, they'll go live, eh? Pofana's live. Literally, they're putting the medal on him and he's live. Like, oh, it's brilliant.
How are they gonna watch their spotlight whilst they're eating and stuff? The players.
That's if they're on live, they definitely can't watch us.
Yeah.
So I guess that's it. Maybe they're allowed one communal iPad.
Maybe.
with with the request out.
Yeah, old Nokia's only.
Exactly.
Watch your weight, roulette. At Milanello, breakfast and lunch are mandatory.
Also, he's talking about putting on muscle, not
He's
not
talking about
slowing down.
perhaps, but you need to eat what we give you.
Uh-huh.
You know, apparently it was a standard life, so people could just eat before training.
No, in fact, Conceição, who is no idiot, was very vocal.
Of
We
course.
have overweight players.
Pavara, Jovic was overweight at one point.
This is so funny.
It's true.
They're like bikini models or something.
No, but absolutely you can see it. It's clear to see. Number 9, tough team. We must concede the fewest goals of all.
If you concede the fewest goals, you're likely to win the league.
That's how it goes. And number 10, on the pitch, always make the simplest choice. I'm not sure how that will work with Leo. Maybe he has poetic license, no freedom of expression.
No, I like
I like them as well.
I like that.
Easier fucking said than done, but we'll see.
Yes, no. Biden, he just flops. Yes, lots after blood dropped 10 command. He joined me that drops 10 commandment. Lost the others give war, dog.
Yeah, hilarious.
What would Fonseca's 10 commandments be?
Number 1, jogo bonito. We play beautiful football.
Number 1, important. Don't defend. We have to have the worst defense in the league. Number 2, beat Real Madrid.
Whenever Zappa has the ball, don't close him down. Don't close Zappa down. Okay, so we can move on to Napoli. And is there anything else you want to add about Milan? Because I know you had a bunch of rumors on your...
Shit, I do have rumors. Give me a friggin' sec.
Because you were talking about Boniface and...
Yes, so it's no secret that Tare and Allegri came in and they agreed on one thing. The midfield is a priority. I think people that look at Milan conceding a lot of goals last season and they put it down to the defenders, sort of the wrong way to look at it, because one forward pass and you only had the defenders to beat last season for Milan. The midfield was non-existent off the ball.
Because the double pivot wasn't defensive at all.
Yeah, I loved Fofana's 8 assists. I loved Reinder's 15 goal contributions, but off the ball, they struggled a lot. So Milan really want to solidify the midfield. After the midfield is solidified, there is the striker role that they're looking to fill, and apparently Milan have a very strong budget for the striker role. We're talking 40 to 50 million budget on a striker to compete with Santi Jimenez. Again, they're looking for a target man, someone that is an in-the-box striker, someone that is tall, that you could ping the ball up to. Someone like Giroud, they're saying. Now, in my opinion, Giroud isn't an in-the-box poacher striker. Giroud is someone that drops in deep and plays well with the winger. So I do feel like there's a slight misprofile of either Giroud or what they're looking for. And I had a few arguments on Twitter about it.
Yeah.
Because they're saying Jimenez isn't a poacher. Jimenez isn't an in-the-box striker. Yes, he fucking is. Jimenez isn't great at link-up play. Jimenez, give him the ball in the box and he's likely going to score.
Exactly. Yeah, I feel the same way. So that's from what we've seen so far.
From what we've seen.
He shoots on sight. He's another player.
Exactly.
Maybe play for the team a bit more at times, but with the striker, you excuse it a bit.
So according to Moretto, the most recent name Milan are looking at is Jean-Philippe Mateta. Theo loves Mateta. You know about Mateta.
Mateta's great.
Yeah, is he that profile that we're saying?
So yes, I would say he's quite like the fire starter in the box. I would say like he could. But you're looking for a person outside of the box as well.
So a target man, a sizable target man, and I guess that means that they come in deep and you can hold all.
He is. I mean, he's a hefty guy first.
Okay.
He's a hefty guy. He's got some weight to him. He has a similar kind of build, similar to Lukaku, will bully like sort of the defenders out of the, not really same with the hold up play, but more of attacking the box and making sure he'll just like get in there kind of thing. Is a very, very good player for Palace. He was one of their star players. I would say one of the reasons why they won the FA Cup for sure. Like, and he scored some brilliant goals against us this season as well, which was at home as well when we were playing at Old Trafford. So it was. I would very much say he is one of the targets for this club.
I've heard great things about Mateta, and one great thing about him, which would make a team like Milan pounce, is his contract ends in June 2026.
Very good.
So that's That's a 30 million discount if I've ever seen.
14 goals, 2 assists last season in the Prem for Crystal Palace.
For Crystal Palace.
Crystal Palace, it was good, huh? He also looks like one of the Warner brothers. You know,
I have no idea what the Warner brothers look like, dog.
the Wayans brothers. Sorry, not the Warner brothers. Jesus.
Villains? I have no idea what they look like either.
Yeah.
He's French.
Yeah.
Mateta. They're also looking at Victor Boniface.
Mm.
There was a direct call to explore the deal, but the costs remain very complicated, making the transfer unlikely.
Because he's younger as a profile. Boniface, he's 24. Mateta is 28.
At Leverkusen, and things seem to be complicated between Milan and Leverkusen. Man, even the whole Shaka back and forth left a bit of a bad taste in my mouth. So, this is probably for Tarek.
He's basically on a goal every 2 games with Leverkusen.
But I'm going to be honest. These are names we hear, and I don't think they ever go
Yeah,
through.
yeah.
When you start looking at the Premier League and you look at a player like Boniface, 24 years old, still entering his prime, playing at Leverkusen, essential to their project. I don't know if Milan are going to be able to pull these off. But another option is Dusan Vlahovic, who's on the list. I'm so out for Vlahovic. I think he's misprofiled. I think people are forgetting how
To use him.
shit he can be.
Mm.
People are forgetting that because this is the thing. He's not great at hold up play. He's good on the counter and when people play him through, but I've seen him miss incredible chances last season. So I really don't think he's the best fit. And then there's so those are the striker positions. After they figure out the striker situation, they're then gonna look at right backs and left backs. So for right backs, Milan have already put in an offer for Due, who is
Duels'
brother.
Yeah.
They put in an offer of 15 million, and the club he's at, which I believe are Stuttgart, Salzburg, something like that. If you can find that out, it would be great. And they're like, no, we view him at 30 million. So here we go. They're gonna try close that gap down. Probably he is a priority for right back, but Milan are also looking at the right back position. Almeria's fullback named Mark Pubel. And a bunch of clubs are looking at Mark Pubel.
Yeah, this for me, I find this part of being a football fan exhausting.
I know.
Personally, especially when it's my team, you know.
That's right.
Like you look into so many names and you end up like researching them and getting excited for them, and then they don't happen, or or else you're linked like I hate the ones where you're linked to a terrible player.
Yeah, exactly. I got you. What's this? Right.
It was weird. It's weird. So, like Emerson Royal, Milan, that name had been coming up for like 4 years before it happened. Like every window you hear like Emerson Royal.
Emerson Royal is the worst footballer I've ever seen play for Milan. I say that with full confidence. At left back,
He's with Strasbourg by the
Strasbourg. At left back, Milan are looking at a bunch of profiles. They lost out on that Bruges left back, the Kuiper, because he's off to Brighton. However, they're now looking at Archie Brown, which, if he's as good as his name, Archie Brown, he'll be a banger. He plays for Genk. And that's all I pretty much know about Archie Brown, guys. I'm not going to lie. He looks good.
Brown.
He looks good going forward, though. He does look good going forward.
Okay. So I think we can move away from the rumors. Manyan is staying. That was another thing that was confirmed. And Allegri's looking at him to lead the team, to be the captain.
Yeah. I won't bother mentioning Osimhen, by the way.
No, but that's a perfect segue because Galatasaray want to actually redeem Osimhen, but his release clause of 75 million is proving to be a bit of an issue. However, sponsors in Turkey could help with the costs, and apparently it's close to happening.
Okay.
So he's very happy at Galatasaray, and they're very happy with him, and the sponsors apparently are going to make it happen.
All right.
He has been killing it with Galatasaray. The numbers are insane, of course. Osimhen is a player that if you sign him, he's going to score 20 goals no matter who you are. Like, he's that good. I mean, just look at his numbers. With Galatasaray, 41 games, 37 goals, 8 assists. With Napoli, 133 games, 76 goals, 18 assists. With Lille, 38 games, 18 goals, 6 assists. With Charleroi, 36 games, 20 goals, 4 assists. He just bangs them in.
And no one wants him.
No one wants him because he's a complicated player. He's expensive.
He likes to go on Instagram live and cause mayhem, man. You saw that with me.
I saw that once, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" And somehow, every summer, we're still linked to him at United.
You know what I love how like if it were his close friends were trying to like calm him down, like listen, Victor, relax. He's like, every time Victor relax, I'm gonna punch you in the fucking face. You're on live and you're threatening that I'll slap your face or whatever he was saying.
And he's telling the coach, like he's on live, so the coach can't answer back, like, and he's going,
Don't make me say it. Like,
say what, man? Victor Osimhen. I think it's totally worth it. I've said this on the podcast before. If I was a sporting director, I would bring Osimhen to the club. I would give him his own chef, his own driver. I'd make him feel like royalty. I'd tell him thank you and please every time I speak to him, like make him feel really loved and respected. Talk to our social media team not to make any videos about him. 'Cause
Maybe he just needs a bit of love, you know? Maybe that song, he just needs a bit of love, you know?
and respect. Look, I've known many a Nigerian in my life, and Nigerians are they prioritize respect.
they do.
If they feel disrespected,
They go mental, man.
they're gonna show like most respect, or they believe in an eye for an eye.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely. Yes, so that is the latest on Victor Osimhen. I must admit, I would be curious to see what Conte could do with a monster like that. There's also Noah Lang, who has joined Napoli, a bit of a blast from the past for Milan fans. You have linked to Noah Lang 2-3 years ago. Maybe
I've had many a romantic summer thinking about Noah Lang, who looks like a Lobotka if he joined the wrong crowd, bro.
looks like Lobotka in his Jesse Pinkman era.
Exactly.
Born in 1999, Noah Lang. He was with PSV Eindhoven, but made it very clear when he was there that he was actually an Ajax fan, and he ended up moving to Ajax, or vice versa.
No,
Or it was like that.
he was. I think he was at Ajax and went to PSV,
Yes, and then went to
Brugge.
something like that. Yes, but he has been doing.
Wait, no, bro. That's completely fucked. That's completely fucked. I think he was at. Brugge definitely isn't the most recent team he was at.
Check it out.
That is completely
Because this is transfer market, so it should be fine.
Then how come? Boom. Okay, so he came up through the ranks at Feyenoord. However, while he was coming up to the ranks as a Feyenoord, he joined Ajax.
Because he claimed to be a fan from the get-go.
Went to Twente. From Twente, he returned to Ajax. So that was a loan, in fact. So he stayed at Ajax. From Ajax, he joined Brugge. And from Brugge, he joined PSV Eindhoven.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, so now you're not career path. So yes. With Brugge, he's got 125 appearances, 38 goals, 34 assists. He's the type of player who can create as well as he can score. He had a very serious injury at the age of 16 with his back, but managed to recover and become a pro anyway. Apparently was a very talented kid as well, and very driven and very hungry. There's this story that's told in the Netherlands that when he was a child, he was extremely competitive, and one game the opponent, who was way older than him, scored a goal with Noah hanging off his back, like trying to defend him to win the ball back. Yeah, he is talented but outspoken. He has clashed with many authority figures like Ten Hag and Tadic. But he did excel in Belgium when he was given freedom to roam and was used as kind of an inside forward rather than a touchline winger. What do you think, bro? I'm quite excited to see this guy.
I've watched Lang play, and every time I watch him, I'm like, why isn't this guy at a bigger team? And when he was at Brugge and Milan were torn between him and De Ketelaere and ended up going for De Ketelaere, I always said like, what if they had gone for Noah Lang kind of thing? I think he's a no-brainer. He's a good signing. He's an exciting player. Having a bit of arrogance and having that cocky confidence about you as a player often makes you an even better footballer. I'm excited to see him. I think he'll fit the league nicely as well. So welcome, Noah.
And it's interesting to see that Napoli now have another player who can take on Aman.
Yep.
They have Neres now and Noah Lang, who are both very good dribblers of class.
And finally, this is the Dybala replacement.
Yeah.
This is literally the Guardiola replacement.
Exactly. Because he does play in a similar way where you kind of like expect almost highlight reel moments from him in dribbling as well. And dude, he is a big kind of game player as well, because he shows up in the Champions League. Every time you watch one of these teams in the Champions League, it's him on the squad.
Why I would have watched them only in the Champions League. It's not like I'm watching the Belgian and Dutch league every other day, you know?
Fair enough. Of course, if only we could, right? So yes, that is Noah Lang. I am very excited. Let us know what you think.
Yeah.
We can move on now.
And just staying on the topic of Napoli, sure, Napoli are very, very, very close to confirming Belkema.
Yes.
And this is huge.
Because abundantly he will make him into a beast. I mean, he's already very good. He is so good at distributing the ball and playing the ball from the back. And he's quite organized as well defensively within his positioning and his tackling and his marking, etc., etc.
Now, last season, to me, Belkema was the breakout center back of the year, in my opinion.
I think Coppola would be the breakout centre back.
Coppola's up there. I think just at a higher level, Belkema was extraordinary, and I think he showed us a good combination of playing the ball forward, calm with the ball at his feet, but also excellent in the air, strong, really good on one-to-one tackling. I think Belkema is a top player, and I think for Napoli it solves two problems. Number one, it's the depth, right? So what happened when Buongiorno or Rahmani was injured? They had to rely on the likes of Juan Jesus, which isn't exactly ideal for them. So now they got in Belkema. So in case something happens to either of those players, they have higher caliber players on the bench ready to come in. Also, like I said earlier, if they want to play a three at the back, they have Rahmani last man standing. Then they have Buongiorno on one side, who's a no-nonsense defender all up in your grill. And then they have Belkema, strong in the air, good one-to-one tackling, and also has great distribution and good at carrying the ball forward.
Yeah.
That is a Conte back three.
That is a Conte back three, and they all have their own strengths. Yeah, it's true. You have one who's like the anchor, the combative one, and the kind of orchestrator.
Yeah.
Fairness.
That's around 30 million. That deal will be done for. I believe there's a certain percentage of that. Where is it? That goes to AZ Alkmaar. That's 20% that goes to AZ Alkmaar. So 30 million plus bonuses. But stay tuned because Bologna have a replacement lined up.
Oh yeah. So yes, that takes us on to Juventus, who have signed Jonathan David on a free. If you are a Milan fan, you are twitching right now. Noah Lang.
I'm trying to tell you what, someone's finally signed Jonathan David because it feels like to me Romano's been trying to get this guy signed for years. That's what it feels like to me.
Yeah. Jonathan David is a very good player. Jonathan David is very intelligent. He's not the flashy kind of striker. He's not extremely quick. He's not an extremely good finisher, but he is extremely intelligent. He knows how to play the line super well. He knows how to play his teammates through as well. Plus, if you look at him, since literally 2019-2020, he has always scored a minimum of 13 goals in the league.
That's huge.
Which is very good. So he's a proven goal scorer. He plays a minimum of 30 games every season, and even managed to score 24 goals in 22-23 season.
But you know what drives me nuts? Then why didn't anyone want him?
But that's not true though, because Juve wanted him, and they got him. You know what I mean? Like, Juve.
But why didn't anyone else want him? Why wasn't this? Because if you look at his numbers and you look at his highlights and whatever, top player for sure. And he's been rumored to clubs like last season. Milan could have gotten him for 20-25 million. So why the hell didn't they get him for 20 to 25 million? A player like him who has age on his side, has experience on his side, has intelligence on his side. That fucks with me a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
So
The lack of demand.
I think right now we have a bit of a situation where most Premier League teams. So first of all, I think there's a bit of a shortage with strikers. I think people are under the impression that there's a shortage of out and out goal scorers. And maybe Jonathan David isn't considered to be a reliable goal scorer who's going to score 20 goals a season. And that's kind of what's in demand nowadays. In the Premier League, man, they're shopping from mid-table. You see them. They're all these clubs are going for these Mbuembos and
True.
you know what I mean?
It's true.
Yeah.
True. Even Cunha went to United, for
Yeah.
example, from Wolves, which are not even mid-table. I would say like the third quarter of the table nearly.
Chelsea got Delap.
Yeah,
A relegated club now.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Ipswich. Yes, Ipswich. A relegated club now. So it is very much a case where we're trying to find local players. Also, there's a similar issue that there has been recently with Gyökeres.
Yeah.
With Gyökeres, loads of hold up on him, and I mean, obviously the drama comes with it, right? So Gyökeres' drama with Sporting adds up, right? But all of the Premier League clubs kind of opted out, and then they were like, what the no, like, and we're all like, what the fuck? Like, he's one of the best talents.
He's
in
real.
Portugal, like in the world right now. I mean, you saw what he did in the Champions League.
Yeah.
Why does nobody want him? Even levels above David, obviously, like from what he's doing.
When many players brought to the Premier League, brought to these teams, strikers especially, brought from different leagues who flopped. Yes, and I think it's scaring everyone, it's putting everyone off. You look at Darwin Núñez, every striker who's ever joined United ever. Højlund especially, and Zirkzee, you know, you look at these guys. So I think maybe they're a bit put off, man. Even you look at the likes of, I don't know, like Chelsea had got Werner Prout as well. You know what I mean? Like there are so many strikers who are brought from overseas who flop. However, I can't see why no one would have done this because it's a free deal.
It messes with me a little bit because we've watched him and he looks good and there are many an occasion where, as a Milan fan, I would have been pushing the club to spend upwards of 40 million to him.
Yeah.
But the only way he ever left Lille was on a free and to Juve.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's not a small step, you know. He's at their Champions League side.
oh, it's huge. Yeah, it's a matter. He's joining Juventus. Exactly. That's 6.
Yeah, so there might have been competition, and maybe he played it smart, you know, because the way it stands, one of the best things you get from Jonathan David is the versatility, man. In his career, he has played mainly as a center forward, but he has 100 games playing as a secondary striker, attacking midfielder, and he's also featured on the wings as well. He's extremely versatile, and he manages to get goals and assists from every position.
No, that isn't the 187 matches, 99 goals, and 26 assists at center forward for this. Can you pass me some water, please? Thank you. And I think he fits as well. By the way, Juve are having some complications with the striker department because they had to offload Vlahovic and they had to offload him yesterday, and they've attempted to do that through Milan. They've attempted to do that through Inter as well, but it doesn't seem like that's working out for them because of Vlahovic's wage demands, naturally. Because in an ideal world, what Juve would also do is extend the loan of Colomwani, which apparently PSG are willing to sit at a table and discuss that. However, with an obligation to buy in order for them to make up at least some of that 80 million that they spent on him when they signed him.
Yeah. I think Colomwani and David, whatever, would partner up really well.
He's from North America, so yeah, David.
You are considering 2 options, by the way, to deal with this Vlahovic situation. They're considering a straight sale at a discounted price, which basically Vlahovic would have to accept as a potential salary cut.
Exactly, man.
And a potential extension followed by a loan move to revive his form. This is what they're exploring as well. So we'll see how this develops.
Yep.
But great business by Juve. I mean, even if he doesn't do well, they're going to make...
No, he's definitely, in my opinion, after you got him on a free, he's going to exceed expectations. Now, when you sign a player on a free, the con to that is you're probably going to pay him a bit more than what he's worth. And I think you are paying around 5 to 7 million for him, if I'm not mistaken, per season, obviously, which is, we'll wait and see how worth it that is. But I am an admirer because Milan have been linked with him for every summer since I've fucking been a Milan fan pretty much, man. So 6 million a season.
Yeah.
6 million a season.
In bonuses, he can get 2 million more, according to Gazzetta dello Sport.
Man, Juve do not shy away from paying these.
They don't. They throw money at them. They're wondering, why can't we get rid of anyone? So that is that. Sancho.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I have a lot to say on Sancho.
Yes.
Before you do that, one word.
One word to describe Sancho.
Lazy.
Oh,
Lazy.
good word.
I asked ChatGPT to describe me in one word. I said, no, will you just give me one word? You know what it told me? Driven.
Fuck yo. I respect that.
I was ChatGPT to
I
tell me
see
what
that.
my biggest flaw is, and told me I'm scared to take risks, man.
Old.
Swear. I swear. I'm scared to take. How do I take the risks? I don't know. Probably from me journaling on ChatGPT, bro. Anyway, Nick Sancho.
Before we get into Sancho, I'd like to start a round of applause because he's one step closer to achieving freedom.
Guy. Come on. Come on.
Sorry, whoever ears we fucked there. You guys know the freedom.
Yeah, you commented on Rashford.
There we go. There we go. I mean, I'm hoping the best for him. I don't know about that actually. So yeah, I think there was a lot of drama with this player from the start. I mean, we saw it at City, with Pep. Pep was like, "Get out, bro." He shined at Dortmund and then came to United, right? His apparent home, because he's like, then there's his like transfer videos, like, "I'm here, I'm home." Goes to Chelsea and starts whole. I mean, I understand. At points, I hate Manchester United too, right? Understandable, but he just did not give his all, man. I think he was a player that didn't really care. I think even Chelsea saw it in him as well.
He needs to get rid of him, right?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, exactly. They paid to get rid of him. Like, we'd rather not have him. Thank you very much.
Who's essentially a hemorrhoid.
Literally, he's like a bit of a roach, like that. You need to kind of be like, yeah, like, I'll pay for an exterminator. Like, okay, maybe not that far, but
Yeah, hemorrhoid creams aren't that expensive nowadays.
yeah, exactly.
Ain't a all over the counter.
Exactly. So I think, he's just a person that doesn't. He's clearly like not applying his like any passion into his work, kind of thing. And who are you if you don't do things with passion like that you love? You know what I mean? So
Is attitude another word, man?
attitudinal.
I know.
He has issues with his attitude.
Like, he's got attitude in it.
He's Tudy.
He's dude.
He's a bit tudy.
Last season, he racked up a grand total of 3 goals and 4 assists across 19 appearances for Chelsea.
Freedom, baby.
He's never scored for you. No, he scored 1 goal.
He scored 1 goal against Liverpool.
Oh, what a goal.
Not a goal.
What a goal. Because he said everyone to the east.
What a goal.
Wait, no, he scored more than 1 goal for you.
No. I think he has scored.
Yeah, he scored.
Still, I know he scored a goal where he was cutting inside. He fainted. Everyone doped the way he was fainting, including 2 defenders and the goalkeeper. And then he tapped it into the near post. And it was
He sent the defenders to go drink coffee on the corner cafe. Like
Now, my issue with this for Juve is that Juve don't really use wingers like that.
It's so weird,
Like, why would they go for someone like this?
My first day watching football ever, because even with this Allegri thing, looking at Vlahovic, looking at Chiesa, and I'm like, those aren't really the profiles, but who am I? I'm no expert. These are the experts, kind of thing. Oh, Tudor, who is notorious for starting attacking midfielders behind the striker.
Yeah.
People that are intelligent. Thing, Cope Miners should literally thrive over there. Yildiz doesn't play out wide. He plays in a more central role. With Tudor, Sancho has to be wide. Simple as that. He's there to stretch the defense and then cut inside. That's his strength. That's always his strength.
And that, along with the fact that Juve have Chico Conceição, where they're thinking of removing who.
But apparently, I don't know what the source was, but I saw it on Twitter. He's convinced Tudor.
He's convinced him. I like him as a player, Conceição.
I like him a lot. He's so direct.
Yeah, man, he's very direct. He doesn't always do the smartest thing, but I feel like that's almost something that's it's worth sacrificing when you have such a talented dribbler and such a unique player, man. You know,
Young bros.
oh yeah, 2 years old, improve. You know, Sancho is 25, you know, he's got a whole lot of baggage with him. You don't really know what you're getting. You're signing him into a system without a real sporting director, and you don't even have a position where you can play him. This is bizarre to me.
Feels a bit weird. It also feels like it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Can't see it happening as well.
May I ask as well, do you think, if it were to happen, do you think Tudor would be the right manager to put him in his place?
Phenomenal question.
Not put him in his place, but you get what I mean, to get the player out of him that he once was.
That is where Tudor excels. I think it's getting the best out of his players, and he's a man manager. Tudor's. I think even if you look at, he's no better tactician than Sarri. However, when he joined Lazio, the players woke up.
Yeah, the players respond really well to Tudor, to be honest with you. And even like Simeone at his best ever season under him, he never seemed to replicate that, eh?
But then it's interesting because with Tudor, no, that was under Sarri, where Luis Alberto was kind of flopping. No, I think most players respond well to Tudor.
Yeah.
I think it depends a lot on a player's personality. Like I particularly feel like Sancho is problematic, and I think it comes from either some kind of troubled background that he has, or some kind of overinflated ego that he has.
Maybe as well.
He strikes me as the person that wouldn't take criticism too well, man.
Sancho?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
And Ten
I
Hag,
mean, clearly.
Ten Hag wasn't even the biggest personality either when he was coaching Sancho. Like, I would say he was a very mild personality, I would say, and would tone it down. So I don't see please, please. He wouldn't, like, I don't know how he would provoke him that kind of way, like how it didn't work kind of thing. I think he really pissed him off because I think he wasn't putting his 100% in training, constantly bench.
Such a mindset thing. He goes back to Dortmund and he just kills it again.
It's insane, man. It's insane. How does that happen? Like,
Maybe the Prem isn't a spot for him. If he did well in Germany, it's likely that perhaps he'll do something in Italy. I genuinely think he'll be good in Italy.
I think he'll be good as well. I agree.
Just is Tudor's Juve for him.
So maybe it will happen because of that.
Stay tuned. Interesting. The good thing about it is that after we speak, typically these games take place and these moves take place, so you get to see.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's the fun thing about this podcast. There's always an answer in the future.
Exactly.
Right?
That's why you should tune in every single
broad. Yeah, recently one of our listeners told us that he feels like a crackhead whenever he misses an episode, like he didn't get his fix.
It's so nice.
Love that. Hope you all feel like crack.
Keep it up, bro. Keep it up.
Who was the player, by the way, speaking of United and the disaster that they are, who was the player who mocked you by wearing a Rashford Aston Villa shirt? Was it recently?
What did they mock us?
Yeah, they put up a picture on...
Was it Garna?
Garnacho, yeah.
Well, it wasn't a mockery. It was more like I think, was it a mockery?
We took it as a mockery.
Yeah, I mean, because he doesn't want to, want to play with us anymore, but he basically got kicked out of the club by Amorim. He was like, because he said after the Tottenham game, he was like, I don't understand. He played me only for a few minutes, and Amorim was like, get the fuck out. He was like, get out. What do you mean you go to the interviews and say that? And to be honest, respect it completely. Like, that's the type of cutthroatness we need in the club. And he's young, I know he made a mistake, but he's probably done something similar before. He's let him off the loose for it.
That is it.
And he cut him off completely. So Garnacho can be a kid all he wants and like mock us as much as he wants. We kind of gave him that outlet to perform at United.
He's so good, man.
He's good, man. And that's what pisses me off. Like, you ruined something really good for us. I think we had a tough season with him, but the season before, bro, he was still great.
But that's it. Like, he's very raw.
He was amazing.
The best.
He's amazing in terms of his rawness.
Garnacho, Nacho, Sancho.
Yo,
bro's cooking.
Yo, it's cooking. It's cooking.
Yeah.
Garnacho and Nacho. Sorry. Next.
Yes, I think we can move on to Bonnie No Clyde. We are talking Bonnie from Parma, who has been signed by Inter.
Great sign.
Yes, great signing. We are talking 37 games in Serie A last season, 6 goals and 4 assists. The perfect understudy to Thuram in theory in an ideal world, right? But there is a little bit of drama, a bit of trouble in paradise for Inter at the moment, as the future of many players seems to be up in the air. Before we get into that, react to the Bonnie signing, brother.
Bonnie, you know how highly I think of Bonnie. I think Bonnie is the perfect understudy of Lukaku. And in fact, I had seen that Napoli were super close. They were super interested in him in January. I don't quite know what happened over there. But I think Bonnie is so good at hold-up play. And then you just see him outside of the area, moving forward with the ball. He has that one goal in particular where he beats two players and then knocks it in top bins. I think he's really, really good. I think he has a super high ceiling. And Inter's a good place for a striker to develop, man. And when Inter, what they struggled with is the depth when it comes to their strikers. Now, rather than having a 30-something-year-old Correa and a 6-year-old or whatever Arnautovic, they have like a 20-year-old Esposito and a 20-year-old Bonnie.
Yes, two appreciating assets, two players who Kivu knows well. That's another thing, right? Bonnie and Kivu were together as Parma, and Esposito and Kivu were together with the under whatever, when Kivu was minus. Yes, so very interesting to see. He does need to improve his output though. He doesn't quite score enough goals. If you look at 117 games with Parma, most of them in Serie B, granted he's only 21, and 15 goals, 12 assists isn't quite enough, but of course he's still very young and that can improve.
I've also seen him put his teammates on a plate.
Yes, cough, that's man. Absolutely. So, after Inter were eliminated from the Club World Cup by Fluminense in a shock 2-0 defeat,
I love this.
Lautaro spoke out strongly about the lack of commitment within the squad, right? He said, "Here, you have to want to stay. The message is clear. Whoever doesn't want to stay, goodbye." And he didn't name any names, but clearly he was calling out some players or someone, right, who weren't fully dedicated. Marotta comes out, the sporting director, right? And he says, "I imagine that that the captain's words, Lautaro's words, were aimed at Çalhanoğlu. We'll speak to him. If he wants to leave, the door is wide open." So he removed any ambiguity, but you can't help but feel, as a person with more than one brain cell, that Marotta used Çalhanoğlu as a scapegoat to protect other people that he might have potentially been revere. You think? It's totally possible. You look at Dumfries, you look at Thuram, they didn't exactly make themselves totally available for the Club World Cup, you know what I mean? So I found it really weird that Marotta would come out and confirm who he had been talking about, because he made it worse. He gave it more. He drew more attention onto the matter. Before he could have easily said, "Oh yes, Lautaro was emotional.
Yeah, good statements today. Yeah, wants to be here.
The fact that you have the not even sporting, the club president saying that is quite bad. And then you had Çalhanoğlu fighting back on Instagram with his formal statement, defending his loyalty and explaining his absence, saying that he suffered a muscle tear in the USA and it wasn't actually a lack of desire. Then many fans are saying it's actually because he wants to go to Fenerbahce and he doesn't want to get injured. Or Galatasaray, whatever. Then his wife got on Instagram.
That's what you need. Yeah. Everyone is calling her names and she gets involved.
Zinem Gundugdu came out of nowhere and said, "Some people aren't loyal to you, they're loyal to their need for you. Once their need changes, so does their loyalty. Wisdom with the wank." Where's, you know?
Wisdom with the wife. The wife.
And then Thuram liked it. Thuram liked
Oh
that.
my god, how messy.
This is why Allegri, I think,
I think there seems to be a divide, isn't there? I think they're burnt out to a crisp.
oh yes, they need to chill. My ears need the holiday, right?
They just had all those competitions that they got to the very end at in Italy and in the Champions League, and then right after that they had to compete in the Club World Cup with the same annoying cunts that you see all day every day. Sure, there are a couple of feuds over there. I'm sure Çalhanoğlu isn't the easiest to get on with. Sure, Dumfries isn't, Thuram isn't, Lautaro isn't.
Yes.
And I feel like you said, the captain made a statement to kind of try to unite everyone and to get everyone working towards the same goal. Like Marotta came in and made a very interesting decision to scapegoat Çalhanoğlu. And I think that's a strategic one. because he is a 30-year-old that they could perhaps make 30 million off of. And they can replace him. They already.
He's not running his contract down, is he?
It sounds like something Charlotte would do.
Yeah, exactly. He's done his whole career.
There's no trauma over there. But Sucic is
Very
very better suited for that role.
Mm.
Of course, it isn't as strong on set pieces, doesn't have a 99.9% record from the spot. There are obviously some assets they're going to lose or some pros they're going to lose if losing Çalhanoğlu, but at least they're not losing to Ram. There's an interesting one with Dumfries, who has a release clause of around 25 million, but it's expiring apparently. But for clubs outside of Italy, it's important to mention.
Çalhanoğlu is tied to Inter until the summer of 2027, by the way.
Something like 30 million for him. It's
Yeah, why it's way old. I mean, one might argue that they should have sold him last season when the stocks were really high, right? Before we move on, Walter Zenga, the former Inter goalkeeper, put it very well about this whole Marotta thing. He said if Marotta hadn't said what he said, everything would have stayed limited to Lautaro. It clears the way to totally different interpretations and scenarios. And he's absolutely right. That's it.
I think if I had to give my 2 cents on this situation, coming from a fan that's, well, me, who experiences a lot of dressing room drama as well, I think it just shows vulnerability in the team. A lot, like a lot of vulnerability, and mainly because of the Çalhanoğlu situation. Like, I think what Lautaro said was like fine, and I think it just showed that there is that problem in the dressing room where they are divided, and you're showing that to the entire world, kind of thing. Like, you're showing that to your rival fans. It's not something good to show. Like, you should be showing that you're keeping your head focusing on the next season, like you're keeping your heads on and not losing your head, because I feel like it's gonna fuck with like the rivals even more. I that's how I see it, at least from an outsider perspective.
I also, while I agree with you, I also think that feuds of this nature are way more common than we see, and I feel like they're very limited, and people are very careful around the cameras, right? We saw, for example, during COVID, when there were no fans, we heard so much bickering and back and forth between players and insults.
I can understand you.
That was great. So it was great. So cool. The one issue with this is that exactly Marotta added fuel to the fire. Like this could have been limited to that game. It's totally understandable that someone says something like that. Again, you know, but the fact that he Marotta came out and said that he has people like us talking about it 2 weeks after it happened. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Absolutely.
No, but like you said, it does show a chink in Inter's armor at the moment, which creates a kind of sense of they lost Inzaghi, that they lost that project. Now they have a young manager and he's not containing the dressing room. Of course, it's early days. Of course, this team is burnt out and this guy wasn't with them to experience them burning out and be with them when they're burning out. It's hard for him to even relate, because back when he was playing, at most you'd play twice a week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He definitely wouldn't play throughout the summer unless he was representing Romania. Romanian, eh?
Romania.
Yes. Shout out Romania, man. What else that was? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Yeah, it was a great trip. I also think he might have been, if we're speculating on who he might have been protecting, Marotta, just Frattesi as well, who's been begging Roma for a move. Yeah, so there are many possibilities over there. So yeah, I think we can move on. Regarding Inter, yes, we mentioned Sucic, who they signed, who looks absolutely amazing. Enrique as well, who has already divided the fan base. Some say give him time, some say he's Dalbert. Yeah, but that's pretty much it. So Atalanta have signed another Sulemana. Yes, and this one is very different. So we're talking about Southampton's Sulemana. His name is Kamaldeen Sulemana, not to be confused with Ibrahim Sulemana, who Atalanta purchased from Cagliari, of course. Now, this Sulemana was with Southampton and also played under Juric and played some of his best football under Juric, funnily enough, in a period where Southampton couldn't win a single game, but this guy was playing well.
He was apparently the only guy doing anything, the only kind of spark that Southampton team.
In fact, that's the word I would describe him as: electric. He is an electric winger. He's got good vision, quick feet, he's unpredictable, and from what I've seen, he can pass the ball very well, and he's quite imaginative with his passing as well. He's 23 years old, he's Ghanaian, he can typically play on the left wing or as a striker. His numbers leave a lot to be desired though. As for Southampton, for example, last season he only scored 1 goal. No, 1 goal in the league, 1 goal in the no, yeah, just 1 goal last season actually. His career high was at Rennes with 4 goals.
Oh, you mean Ren?
Yeah. But many people are saying, oh, this guy at Atalanta could become something like Lookman. I'm not too sure about that. But
I will see. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's no longer Gasperini. I would typically say this guy is the next Maradona, right? but it's no longer Gasperini. It's Juric, who, to be fair, knows how to use him. We'll see. Atalanta are one of the teams I'm more intrigued by. What else did they do, brother? Sorry, I thought I set you up. I thought I set you up perfectly.
what else did they do? They sold Ruggeri to Atletico Madrid for quite a lot, to be honest. Let's see. Ruggeri, Atletico Madrid.
Ruggeri, for those of you that didn't watch our tops and flops episode, by the way, shame on you. Jake had Ruggeri as his Atalanta flop. Yeah, that's been highly rated, but definitely flopped because Zappacosta took over his role at left back. Zappacosta actually right back of.
Yes, yeah. And they managed to make 20 million off him, Ruggeri. However, Ruggeri is young and
22.
2 years old.
Signed a player that's younger than him.
I guess it's all profit. So that's how Atalanta operate. So we'll see what they do. Nowadays, Brescianini and Bellanova both have grades, by the way.
Oh, do they?
Yeah,
I like
enjoying their summer.
in summer players typically tend to spice up their hairstyles. As you said, we'll see what they do, but we know what they did actually, and they signed Honest Ahanor from Genoa, 17-year-old who played. If you can pull up the amount of games that he played last year, I was very impressed by Honest Ahanor. And in those 6 games towards the latter stages of the season, I thought he was great. Now, it's only 6 games, but it's 6 games where he showed incredible physicality, incredible endurance,
And speed.
and speed. And I think for an Atalanta system, he's perfect for that.
Yeah.
I don't know about his output. Did he score while
No.
Did he get an assist?
Perhaps, I don't.
I think he got an I think 1 or 2 assists, if I'm not mistaken. But we'll see what his output is like, and we'll see how important output is for a Juric wingback system.
The good thing about Ahanor is he's very versatile as well, right? He can play as a center back, a midfielder, or as a wing back, or even as a center back. He did not score.
Okay.
No, or get any assists. Nothing.
Roasted.
I mean, he's over 17, these games. Yeah. So yes, there's that. Also keep an eye on Retegui, because if Atalanta continue to operate the way they have operated for the past few years, Retegui will probably be coming to Saudi Arabia. I mean, Saudi Arabia are all over him. They're offering a shit ton of money to to Atalanta. So keep an eye on that situation. I think Retegui might be too ambitious, to be honest, for that move. I'm not sure. You can never know.
Retegui is another player that Milan were looking at. Another player at the point Juve were looking at as well, but doesn't seem like that's going to be done. I believe there's a release clause of around 50 million, unless I'm confusing him with the release clause of Moise Kean. But I think you can get a deal done at around 50 million for Retegui. So if a team has that budget, it's highly, highly recommended. Is it 52 million?
They value him at no less than 50 million euro.
Okay.
However, there is no release clause. They're keen. It's mentioned here.
Kean
has a bit in release.
Finally, the Nazionale have a consistent striker. Let's not see.
Yeah, let's not fit this out there.
For the love of God.
Let's not get another John Duran situation.
Exactly.
Yes. Moving on from Atalanta to Genoa, Ahanor's club, Ahanor's boyhood club. They were going to sign Jamie Vardy. They were going to do it. Jamie Vardy last season made 35 appearances in the Premier League, scored 9 goals and got 4 assists. So there's still a player there, 38-year-old Jamie Vardy. And it was all agreed, it was all going to happen, but out of nowhere, Vieira blocks it.
Vieira
Is the Grinch.
Because he didn't like Balotelli. He doesn't like Vardy. Do you like life? Do you like balls?
Yeah.
I don't know. Or do you like has the biggest set of balls?
Yeah, I mean, why would you say no to this?
Do you like fun? Do you like seeing something fun in your league? Well, not that there isn't, but like
I mean,
in your club.
but Jamie Vardy, you get him. You have a chance to sign up Vardy at 38 years old. Even if you keep him on the bench and he stays getting sent off yelling.
No, like you don't think you can on the bench. You know, this guy kept up with the most physical league in the world. You know, I in the Premier League.
This guy, he's very speaks shithousery in 20 different languages. Because he'd find the nationalities of the centre backs he's playing against and he'd learn fuck you in their language. It's just hilarious. It's their shit talking now.
That's insane.
Yeah, amazing.
So yes, we don't like Vera here.
I guess. Yeah, we're Roy Keane people. Shall I move on to Bologna?
Yes.
So Bologna are very close to Immobile. Immobile is another striker. He left Lazio 2 seasons ago, joined Besiktas. He actually played 30 games over there, scored 15 goals, got 4 assists. This is the same guy, of course, that has 201 Serie A goals. He's the 8th all-time top scorer. He's a top scorer in Lazio's history. He's 35 years old. He has mutually terminated his contract at Besiktas. Besiktas fans are devastated, but he wants to move back to Italy, and Bologna are the team that he seems likely to be signing for. Consistent communication between them.
Yes, I think for a decent price, like a decent salary is in, it's a good move for Bologna. They have a bit of an experienced player on the bench. I don't think he'll be an out and out starter. Most of the goals he scores nowadays, Immobile, are tap-ins or penalties. He is still intelligent with his movement, but of course his legs are very intelligent. Yeah, man, very. I mean, that's the way he's always been, right? But nowadays, 35 years old, you feel it a little bit. I mean, he still managed to get 15 goals and 4 assists with Besiktas, as you said, was 26 starts, 30 games in total. That's great, despite not scoring in Europe for them, and that kind of, I think, disappointed them a little bit. The last time we saw him in Serie A with Lazio, 23-24. He managed 7 goals and 1 assist.
That was his flop season.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, exactly. It was the season before, exactly, 12 goals.
What the fuck do you guys expect from Ciro Immobile upon his return to Serie A?
Smash the like button and let us.
Exactly. What does this mean for Dallinga?
I think it means that Dalinga will continue to probably start games. Because there's Castro as well.
Castro starts.
Dalinga's the sub. I think, look, you have once again 3 players who are completely different. So I think depending on what you need, you can adapt to.
I think Castro would be really good, and we've said this before, at a 2 up top system. This could open the door
For a move.
whereas Dallinga and Immobile, size-wise and role-wise as forwards, are very similar in that sense. I think Castro would let me scratch that. Castro would complement them both in a top system.
I think they would downgrade if they got rid of Castro and brought in Immobile.
No, they won't do that. Why would they remove a 19-year-old and sign a 30?
Yeah.
I don't think they get rid of Castro. I'm saying they start up front together.
Yeah, sorry. In Italiano will start with 2 strikers.
Maybe.
I've never seen him do that.
Maybe. No, not even me. But why else would they have 3 strikers? One of them be is Ciro Immobile going to be third choice? Is Dallinga?
He might genuinely be. I mean, they have European competition as well. You need strikers,
That
right?
seems stranger to me than playing a 2 up top every now and then.
And Bernardeschi.
Yes. I'll come to Berna very soon. But Martin Vitic is a great signing that they made. Martin Vitic is the Belkema replacement. Vitic is the signing they made that allows them to sell Belkema to Napoli for 30 million. 22-year-old centre-back from the Czech Republic. They have signed him from Sparta Prague at a reported cost of 15 million, 11 million fixed fees and 4 million in bonuses. He's 6'4". He's incredibly strong in duels. He doesn't enter them half-heartedly. He's very good at aerial battles, of course, at 6'4". And he even got 4 goals last season and 4 goals the season before. And those didn't come from headers, which was funny. They came from inbox scraps. He has good anticipation, strong in challenges, and he loves carrying the ball forward. That is where you'll be super impressed by him. Imagine a 6'4" structure bombing forward.
And Vic Pavlovic.
similar to Pavlovic, similar to Bastoni in many ways, loves getting a nice early cross in. He's on a 4-year contract. And I think it's a very smart signing by Bologna. And I think he matches the style of play that they had with Beukema.
I mean, again, you're getting a 22-year-old who has over 100 appearances with a club in a top league. It's in top league with Sparta Prague, but it's a good league.
Yeah.
109 appearances, 10 goals there. So from his position, crazy. So yes, I think it's a decent move, and Bologna have very clever scouts and sporting directors. So I'm sure
Yeah.
he'll be lit.
Uh-huh. They've also signed a 21-year-old goalkeeper from Chile, a free transfer from Universidad Católica. Okay?
Yes, the Catholic University.
Yes, and this contract expires in December 2025. Once they sign him, he will be immediately loaned out to Montreal Impact, and then he'll be on a 5-year contract.
Nice.
So, yep, I mean, no displacing Skorupski. They've also signed, like you said, Federico Bernardeschi. You must be like, how old is Bernardeschi now after he played in the MLS? Blood is 31.
Yeah.
Blood is not that old. He's 31 years old. Attacking midfielder. He has terminated his contract with the Canadian side along with Insigne, the two Italian superstars having a not so romantic ending in Canada. And he's on a 2-year contract with an optional additional year. He will take the number 10 and he'll earn 1.8 million per season.
Good deal for Bologna.
Right? He needs no introduction. This guy has 183 appearances for Juve, 93 appearances for Fiorentina, and 39 for the national team. He's technically gifted, he's versatile, he's hardworking, and he has a strong left foot. If you need an attacking midfielder, if the right winger, left winger, secondary striker, Bernardeschi is a good squad player to have. And 1.8 million per season, you take him.
Yeah. And he clearly showed in the USA. I mean, Canada play in the MLS. So he clearly showed when he played that he was a level above everyone else. I mean, the problem with him was his availability, especially in his last season. But he always managed to get a decent output by the end of the season. Like in 1,300 minutes, he managed 4 goals and 3 assists. That's just 15 appearances. That's decent. I don't know if he'll be a key player, but if you look at, you have Ndoi and Orsolini and you have Bernardeschi on the bench, that's not bad. You know what I mean?
He is deployable.
The question is, this is all good and well if they keep their key players. The problem is if Bernardeschi becomes the Ndoi replacement. The problem is if an Immobile becomes the Castro replacement. That's where the problem comes in.
I see that.
Because replacing Beukema with Vitek is not the end of the world, because Beukema was kind of an unknown. Exactly. Coming in, you're cashing in on the success of a player that you purchased, and you're replacing him with someone who can probably who can do a good job as well.
So his opponents will have the fright of their lives when they see his face. Correct. Right.
Yes. Some uncanny valley shit.
So uncanny valley shit.
But he is deployable. I remember when he was getting virtually no game time at Juve, Italy brought him on in the Euros when they won it, and then he did a solid job because you could put him in the midfield, on the wing, secondary striker. So I think it's a good signing on a free and 1.8 million per season. Definitely a good signing. Separately to him, and just moving on a little bit, because Insigne has terminated his contract as well, and Insigne has been outspoken. He wants to make the next World Cup squad. That at this point he's 34 years old. He has a great relationship with Gattuso, who coached him at Napoli. Insigne was pivotal to Italy winning their last major trophy, which was the Euros. Bro, sorry, I'm gonna have to do this. Okay, nice.
What the hell?
Yeah, the floof. They removed the floof. So apparently Insigne called Gattuso the fucking ass licker, and he was like, "Congrats, boss! I'm really rooting for you, man." So Gattuso must have told him like, "Get your ass back in Italy, and then let's get you back in the squad." I guess. I mean,
He knew what he was doing. Oh.
Yeah, I think they have the same barber.
they must have the same barber. And another interesting thing is, you know who else Insigne was coached by at Napoli? Who he played his best football under? Sarri, of course. Sarri reunion at Lazio. question mark. It has been confirmed that there have been enthusiastic talks between them. Enthusiastic talks. However, the only problem is that he can only sign for them in January because Lazio have that transfer ban.
Yes.
Lazio have a transfer ban, so they can't sign him in summer. They have to sign him in January.
I thought Parma as well were considering him, and Parma, in my opinion, is more of
Udinese, Parma, and maybe Fiorentina.
I think Parma's a decent idea for him.
Yeah, he's,
I think
it definitely won't start for Lazio. They have Zaccagni, right? But if Zaccagni is injured, it'll be quite good to bring on with Tati Castellanos up front. Why the fuck not?
yeah.
Keep in mind under Sarri, 139 performances, scoring 47 goals and 34 assists at left wing.
It was really good back then, eh?
Mental,
Yeah.
mental. All 5'4" of him. Literally crazy. I love Insigne. I'd love to see him back in the league. I think Udinese and Parma make more sense for him than a club like Lazio.
Especially Parma. I see him a better fit with Parma than Udinese.
I agree. Moving on to Fiorentina.
Yes, they are raiding Empoli.
They and so good. They're so smart. Why are they raiding Empoli? Because Empoli went down to Serie B and they're like, guys, you don't even have to buy a new house. You can stay in Florence.
Exactly.
Don't worry. Don't worry. No need to fucking... No need to take your kids and no need to take your wife to a brand new city. So Fiorentina have been very...
It's like Theo Hernandez who has to cover his wife up, get on a plane, fly to Saudi Arabia.
We are covering Zoe Cristofoli, our brother, huh? Good luck. What's the opposite?
Pull up Zoe Cristobal.
Pull up Zoe Cristofoli. And I'll say that a bit. Nick pull up Zoe Cristofoli. Say that a bit less enthusiastically.
Coming up.
She's oh damn. Let's see. Zoe Cristofoli.
Give me a second.
This way.
Oh, do you want her with Theo? No, let's do her now.
Bro,
Let's spotlight her. Give her the.
you know what we're looking for.
Okay, maybe I don't have as much as what you're thinking.
I mean, ideally, I would keep it.
Here she is.
Yeah, she is, yeah.
Good looking woman.
Good looking woman.
Looking woman.
Very good looking.
Yes, very handsome woman.
Did you see her and Theo were caught fucking around on their boat?
But those are just paparazzi shots, no, where it looks bad more than anything else.
I don't know about that one.
Yeah, no,
It's bad. Alright.
bad. No, I mean, I thought it was one of the most things.
It brings me back to Icardi and Wandanara on their yacht. You remember those?
But of course, more stable because they're like on again, off again. No one done.
Yes.
So are they even together anymore? I don't know. They're like with a teenage rapper or something.
She was screwing Keita Balde, no?
The ball is straight up confirmed it, like.
But who did Fiorentina sign from Empoli? They signed Mattia Viti and Jacopo Fazzini. Deals fantastic players. Let's start with Viti, a 23-year-old Italian centre back. It's on loan, so they signed him from Empoli, but he belongs to Nice. So he was on loan from Nice to Empoli. So they're signing him from Nice for around 5 million plus a 10% cut of the future transfer fee. He came up, Viti, through the Empoli Youth Academy and was sold to Nice for 13 million in 2022 and then was loaned out to Empoli to get some more minutes. He returned to Serie A twice for loans with Sassuolo the season before and then most recently Empoli. He's 6'3". He reads the game well. He loves a block and an interception. He's a very last-ditch defender, but he reads the game very well. In fact, last season he had 6 detrimental blocks, like blocks that stopped clear goal scoring opportunities, and 48 interceptions. He also had 97 recoveries, 161 duels won, and 45 tackles. That's another special young Italian for Fiorentina, who have Ranieri, who I'm wearing his shirt right now. Ranieri. And also Comuzzo, of course. A man that is valued at 30 million.
They've got a few too many defenders now, which makes me think. Maybe
Rich as well.
Maybe someone's off. We'll see. Interesting stuff going on at Fiorentina.
Yes. And the signing of Fazzini is one that stands out to me.
I like Fazzini as a player a lot. I think Empoli would have had a much different season had he been fit for the majority of it, because it seems like every time Fazzini found his footing, he got injured every single time, over and over again. So I think they were quite unlucky in that regard. But nice to see him at Fiorentina. 20 is like a bit of a step.
It's a step.
It's a step, it's a step
But
and a half.
there are few players that could pull that off, and just by looking at the way Fazzini plays, he seems to have that something, right? He seems to have that X factor that could make him play for Totti.
Team's predictability, that bit of flair, the bit of creativity.
Kind of like Leoni goes from Parma to one of the Milan players. It feels like this guy can go from Empoli to Fiorentina. Jacopo Fazzini, 22 years old. He's a central midfielder, an all-action midfielder. A lot of people tend to think of him as a trequartista, but he actually loves to play a bit deeper than that and dictate play. According to Nicola Schira, they got him for 8 million from Empoli, with another 2 million in bonus payments for unknown objectives. He's on a 5-year contract, 1.2 million salary. He already has 72 appearances in Serie A, and last season he was the 7th in completed dribbles among 90 midfielders. He's good at shielding the ball and protecting it from opponents when on the ball, which makes him really valuable in the build-up play, and he also inserts himself defensively. Last season, all competitions, he played 22 matches, scored 6 goals, and even got an assist. Jacopo Fazzini, I think, is a great fit to this Fiorentina team. I think if they don't keep someone like Colpani, which I don't think they have kept Colpani, bringing in someone like Fazzini is a no-brainer.
Agree.
8 million.
It's a bargain price. Yeah.
Who else did they sign?
Hate themselves right now. They are close to signing Dzeko. But we covered that.
It's confirmed. You all know him. Experienced physical target man, 107 Serie A goals, 50 assists in 268 matches. In his career, he played 369 games, 369. He played 837 matches, scored 369 goals, and has 153 assists. Coming off a spell in Turkey where he got 35 goals and 10 assists in 71 matches.
It feels like Serie A was moving away from this like reputation of being like a retirement league, and it's like in the past few years we've really seen some young players coming in and make strides, but this year it's like everyone just said fuck it, it's a reunion.
Yeah,
Bring everyone back: Bernardeschi, Insigne, Immobile, Dzeko, Modric. Yeah, the 35 plus gang. Also, I heard a fun idea. Just as you have, the under 19s, the under 21s, the under 17s, why not have an over 35 tournament?
of still active players. I
Still
think
active
that
players over 35, like a World Cup or a Champions League for over 35s. That would be cool.
they're so cool. That's an idea for the next episode. We should field our 11s in Italy.
Easy, real.
They're still there.
Still there, is it?
Amazing. Let's move on to the one that I've been excited for.
Pep's Barcelona.
Pep's Barcelona. Como, bro. Como. Who did they sign? 2 attacking midfielders. And
They look at me.
they look so. Bro, this Martin Baturina looks fucking insane, bro.
He looks really.
Baturina looks so good. He's Croatian. He's an attacking midfielder. He's 22 years old. The best way I could describe him is an absolute star boy, bro. 17 million. They got him from Dynamo Zagreb. A 5-year contract. It was their record signing before they signed the next guy a few weeks later that we'll be talking about very soon. In 165 appearances for Zagreb, he has 22 goals and 39 assists. He has 2 goals and an assist in the Champions League. He's known for his excellent range of passing, vision, dribbling ability, flair, and creative edge. But let me tell you something. Scrap all that, watch him dribble. He's so fucking good with
Both feet. He's totally unpredictable, highly technical, close ball control, but you never know what he's gonna do because he's so good with both feet and he doesn't mind going left, doesn't mind going right, And he's got a great curler on him.
Yes,
His shots, he tees them up. He always goes for this kind of like curling approach. And he also takes free kicks.
He does take free kicks. And say Baturina, remember the name, man. This guy is under Fabregas. He's gonna be mental. Definitely.
because he's getting all the tens he wants in his system.
The next guy that they signed is more expensive, and that's 22 million plus a 10% future sale from Real Betis. That's Jesus Rodriguez. He actually plays a bit more wide. He's a left winger. He's Spanish. He's 19 years old. He's on a contract until 2030. Keep in mind, this is the same club they got Hassan Diao from, who was fantastic. The only player that competed with Nico Paz. He played 1,120 minutes, which is equivalent to 12 games last season for Real Betis, and he scored 2 goals and got 1 assist plus 1 goal in the Conference League. He's strong with the ball at his feet. He's a good 1v1 dribbler, and he drives the ball up quite well. We have a less case study on how he plays because if you look him up, he's played more for the under 21s on Real Betis.
He's still up and coming.
But if he comes on and gets 2 goals and 1 assist in La Liga for a competing Real Betis side who are competing for top 4, it's a great side.
It is. And he's a different profile to Baturina. We're talking someone taller, a bit stronger, a bit more like powerful in his play, more than creative and technical. I need for you to really dumb it down. You have Ronaldo and Messi.
Someone that bobs it forward and doesn't get all technical at the center of the
The
pitch.
Betis fans used to compare him to Joaquin.
Okay,
The Betis, like,
I actually watched Joaquin play for so long. He was there for ages, dog.
yeah, because for those who don't know, Matty was very into La Liga growing up.
Yes, I was a Real Madrid fan, straight up. They're also interested. They're apparently trying their hardest to get Chao and Morata off of Milan for a package worth around 45 million.
I mean, what is stopping this team from getting Conference League? I mean,
I have a hot take, dog.
they have. I mean, Cacace is awesome. They have Nico Paz. Now Baturina, Thiago Rodriguez, Diao, and Fadera. You know, I mean, now they're trying.
They're Brent at the back, who I really rate, bro. They have Dossena.
Of course, yeah. And not to mention now that they're trying to go for some big names. So it's not only just getting these up and coming players, like they're trying to get Chao and Morata, you know.
I mean, and Chao is a great young center back, very promising, error prone. Chao.
A little bit, but when he plays high up,
When he plays out, because he had a game, I believe it was against Real, where I looked at you and said, "This guy, give him 5 years, and he's the best center back."
there's very high seasons, yeah.
But they're not very often. He does have mistakes in him, Chao. Morata will fit Como. He'll fit Como. He'll be a good leader. He could be their captain. The same reason, the same way he helped Como, the same way he helped Spain when they won the Euros. I think he's surrounded by talented tens, and with his hold-up play and with his press, he could get these guys to play the best football and put them on a plate.
When you have a bunch of players like this, like creative players just wanting to link up, you put Morata there. I mean, dude, you're empowering them. Yeah, literally.
Do the dirty work. These guys don't have to press. Morata's working at 110 kilometers an hour. All of you guys just focus on putting the ball at the back of the net. Morata won't get many goals over there.
Absolutely, bro. Very excited to see Como.
Yes. Over to Torino. They have signed an Empoli player who Jake and I believe had him as our unsung hero. Thought he was fantastic. Tino Anjorin. He's a little bit moody, but definitely a player with a lot of potential.
Because my unsung hero was Ismaili, funnily enough.
I believe. Okay,
So it's hilarious.
they signed him as well. Yeah, and I believe mine was Anjorin, though. That's crazy.
That's hilarious.
Anjorin and Ismaili, both from Empoli. Anjorin is 23 years old, attacking midfielder from the UK. Officially, this is a loan with an option to buy if certain circumstances are met, but it's believed to be a very easy clause to activate. It's 5 million. 40% goes to Chelsea, which is ridiculous. That is the classic Bowley kind of business. It's a contract until 2028 with an option for another year. He's a strong ball carrier with great distribution. He can play anywhere in the midfield or a winger. He's very, very, very versatile. However, he lacks consistency and he's quite injury prone. He scored one of the goals of the season last year, by the way. Phenomenal.
Yeah, and some very important goals as well. And there was a point, he was banging them in back to back. No?
Well, he scored 2 goals.
So it's back to back.
Back to back,
Yeah.
but he did get 3 assists as well. He's not the guy I'm super excited about. I think he'll be in and out of the squad, especially if they sign Pessina. But Adrian Ismaili is a guy that could have gone to one of the top teams last
I think you could have used him, for example, and that's something that Adam had said in our episode with him back in the day.
That's 28-year-old. He's Albanian. Nick, keep your
Filthy mouth of him.
I was gonna say keep your Johnson in your.
Or anyone who doesn't know, my girlfriend's Albanian. And I love my girlfriend. That's why. Because I think nobody knows the context of this. I just like fucking Albanian. Wow, I'm gonna love this clip.
That's a 3-year contract. They got him on. I believe yours is on a 2-year contract. Nick, so far reaching a 2-year.
I reached a 2-year contract looking to renew. Look it. Yeah, looking to renew.
Yeah, the loan spell. No out in Alicante for Alicante.
Not with anyone else. Just training. Not training. What? There's no way to say this correctly.
She was on Erasmus.
She was on Erasmus. So I said, who's are in the back? Maybe it was Erasmus Island. With now flashbacks of last season.
3-year contract for Ismaili. There's an interesting one. It was rumored that Torino had to offload Coco before signing him.
Sometimes you just have to offload Coco before you do anything, man.
Coco's food was these days. It's so bad. But Saul Coco. There's a potential move to Qatar on the cards for Coco, but they didn't stay waiting to get that done. They signed Ismaili nonetheless. Ismaili has 117 Serie A appearances with 1 goal and 2 assists, but that's not why we rate him. We rate him for his physicality. He's a no-nonsense defender who also loves to ping a long ball. Last man kind of thing. Last year he was everything for Empoli, taking nothing away from Viti, who we spoke about earlier, but Ismaili was the captain, you know? Super.
Yeah. The move for Coco recently has fallen apart, I think.
Okay.
The centre back, despite his triple salary, did not seem enthusiastic and wants to continue with Torino. I mean, that's great. Ismaili Coco is a great player. Yeah.
Ismaili Coco. Next up, hopefully they signed Duda from Hellas Verona. But Ismaili is, in my opinion, and maybe this is me being a bit of a Serie A hipster, I think he's one of the best centre backs in the league. And I think Torino, I don't even think Torino know what they have.
I think there are a few defenders in Serie A who are like anchors, and they are just very, very good at that. You look at, for example, Jim Simtier is the exact guy that came to mind. Ranieri is another one. But Ranieri isn't exactly that profile entirely, because he can get forward, he can contribute in the offensive. Is very last did. He is last, but in his style though. But he's not the anchor. He'll go up, you know. Ismaili's an anchor. And last mess. He was very good at it, exactly. Exactly, yeah. And he has 100 games for Empoli, played for Spezia as well before, grinding it out at Hajduk Split.
Torino have also redeemed Pedersen from Feyenoord after his loan. We saw him play a lot. We also remember him from Sassuolo. He's a very good right back. He was the guy that replaced Bellanova after he left to Atalanta last season. Let's jump to Cagliari. There's a lot to talk about over here. Cagliari out. Augello, Viola, Coman, Yankto, Palomino.
So I'd say Palomino's another one of those, by the way.
Yes,
Anchorman.
correct. I think the most devastating ones over here, 2 stand out. It's Augello and Viola. I thought Coman came in. They decided not from Al Arafa. Had a great debut, but did nothing after that. Jakub Jankto, listen to this. Jankto, I was reading an article on Jankto's situation. For those of you who don't know, Jankto is, I believe, the only openly gay footballer. And this article that I read, this is this is the quote. Jakub Jankto has left Cagliari after his 2-year contract expired, according to Outsports. The Czech midfielder's departure was announced on the last day of Pride Month.
What the hell?
What? Say like June.
What's the source? I don't. That's insanely cheeky. What? On the last day of Pride Month, they let Yankto go.
Oh, it must mean something.
It is just hinting it out. Right?
That's just one way to put it. But yes, Yankto has left Cagliari on the last day of Pride Month. Palomino's close to returning to Argentina to join Talleres de Cordoba, according to 351 Deportes, which was the source. So it's happening for sure. The deal is that, here we go. The decision is the deal is nearly done with the club targeting him for his experience, leadership, and he's unhappy with his playing time. Augello, his contract with Cagliari expired on June 30th, or the last day of Pride Month. And he is apparently joining Palermo.
He's joined. They've announced him Leoni on a free. That's massive. Another massive signing for Palermo, who are literally going to catapult themselves to Serie A next. They're gonna be first. I think so as well. Unless Napoli do some crazy shit, because they can have their parachute payments. Huh?
Palermo first.
Yeah.
That's a project that has been going on for ages.
Viola, I don't think it's the end of the world for Cagliari. He has declined a little bit in recent times. You know, I think his legs are really like finally showing his age. I mean, he can come on in the last 15 minutes and do something, but lately it's been more often than not that he doesn't do anything.
Lately, don't really wanna know. You gonna grow. Sorry, watching Oasis this Sprite. Live in Manchester.
Yeah, you know, this is Serie A Spotlight. It's a Serie A podcast, but it's also Matthew's blogger.
Also, you can't say United after. And you're also wearing a City kit, possibly to the concert of buying a City kit.
Buy a vintage City kit with brother rollets. For
Hell no. Oh, how cute! I can't say hell no.
we're who's Noel and who's Liam? That's too quick.
Bro, okay.
I don't know that much.
You're an asshole. I'm Noel because I'm really sweet. I write the music.
I don't know. I feel like you guys complement each other in different ways to the point where I don't think they're like opposites. You know what I mean? Like,
I critic you're Noel though. Firstly, Noel is the older brother. Liam is more of the hothead.
Yeah, I'm objectively nice.
No, but Noel writes the songs. Liam sings that.
Mm.
I always said like I don't know. I'd be the manager. You'd be the assistant manager, but you would do more.
Mm.
And I'd just be the face and the like speaker, but you'd be the genius.
I don't know, bro. I think that makes sense. I'm fine with writing songs and you sing them. Plus, I love when you sing in cursive.
Story. Viola, his contract expired. He rejected Pisa because he really wanted to stay in Sardinia. That's what happens when you live in Sardinia. You just want to stay in Sardinia. Look at João Pedro. He could have gone to fucking, who knows, Bayern Munich.
Petania mentally never left Sardinia.
Hey, I never left Sardinia mentally. But Viola, we wish him the best. We're huge admirers of the Fantasista. We talk about the likes of Saponara, of Quagliarella. Viola's up there. And watching him score live against Atalanta, that was crazy.
And he's got a knack for scoring some nice.
Absolutely. Who did Cagliari bring in? Cagliari confirmed the 3 players. They redeemed the 3 players that we all wanted them to redeem. Adopo, Caprile, Piccoli. Nothing sexy, no new faces, but their spine is sorted. That's their goalkeeper, that's their midfielder, and that's their striker.
And remember, they have Liberato at the back.
They have Luperto at the back.
So good.
Solid defender unless you knock it past him and run. Udinese. Are you happy to move on to Udinese?
Yeah, the goes are wrong. Yes. I just want to get to that lecture guy so I can make fun of him.
That's so hurry up. Nicolo Bertola, a 22-year-old Italian centre-back. That's a free transfer from Spezia on a 5-year contract. Strong physicality, sharp anticipation, and solid ball-playing skills thanks to his early days as a regista. He's 6'4". He's confident in both aerial and ground duels, and he builds play up well from the back. He replaces Bijol, who is off to Leeds. That's a huge loss. They're clearly trying to replace his aerial dominance and his ball-playing skills because Bijol is far from just a walrus. He's not just a guy that heads a ball away, but they also played Bijol in Regista for the majority of last season. So this is literally bang on a replacement for Bijol.
Absolutely, bro. He fits the profile to a T. And another young, appreciating asset for Udinese who have really changed their approach in recent years.
Another physical play.
6'4" again.
Atta is a player that they have on a permanent deal from Metz. That's the French midfielder. We know him from last season, but he signed a contract that runs until 2029. Yes, Parma, they have gotten Christian Ordonez. He's a 21-year-old central midfielder. He is Argentine Paraguayan. I'm not too sure which one he represents in a youth level. They signed him from Velez Sarsfield in a deal worth 8.5 million. So investing some of that Bonnie money, perhaps that Bonnie money. Um, Ordonez has made the decision. He had made the decision back in the January transfer window, but the deal with Vélez Sarsfield was dependent on Parma securing their Serie A status. So he wouldn't have joined if they were down in Serie A.
Wow. And I don't think he has actually committed himself to a national side. He has no appearances with the national team, so he's probably open. He's probably going to wait to see how good he gets and then he'll decide. Right, which is always smart. He has 76 appearances, 20 years old. I'm very curious to see what this guy can offer. I watched some highlights of him. I mean, nothing crazy.
He's a crusher. He's a guy that has strong tackling, ball interception, good blocks, like short passes.
Mhm.
He's that kind of player. And then he has quite a shot on him, so he'll attempt a few strikes from distances.
Nice.
He's a defensive midfielder, but he can also play in a box-to-box role. But I will stress that he is better off as a defensive midfielder.
Yeah.
Now finally the time has come, bro.
The time has come. Take her away. For Christ Owen Kwasi. Lega's new signing. His name is Christ Owen Kwasi.
Like, I get it when Spanish people and Argentine people and South American people name their son Jesus. But Christ has just taken it to another level.
And from watching his highlights, I think we'll be saying Christ Owen a lot. Christ Owen. Because he is so clumsy. Like, even in his highlight reel, which is meant to show him at his best, some of the touches are god awful. So it's very interesting to see that Lecce have picked up this agent of chaos, 22 years old, 6 feet tall, plays as a center back. But yeah.
Of Stade Lavallois in Ligue 2. Is the breakout star of Stade Lavallois in Ligue 2. That is a Lecce / Verona signing if I've ever seen one. To be fair to him, 33 Ligue 2 appearances, even got 2 goals and 1 assist. They've got him on a 4-year contract.
And apparently he might, like Gaspar, might not be staying, so he might be a replacement for
Okay.
I guess. So I see. There's that. Also, before we forget, because this was just announced before we started recording, Hellas Verona have signed Giovanni. How do you pronounce this? You think Giovanni? Giovanni?
No, that Giovanni.
Giovanni from Corinthians in Brazil. He is a striker, 6 feet tall, 21 years old. Has played 27 games for Corinthians and scored twice. Hellas Verona do this thing, Nick, where they buy randomly generated players. Like that's the joke. That in January they'll buy 7 players. Wouldn't have heard of a single one of them, and 2 of them like save them from relegation and get sold for 30 million a pop. Yeah, that's how they operate.
If you
They're
create
bizarre thing.
if you create one of those like custom players on FIFA for not Ultimate Team, what
for career
for clubs, for example, you create Nikos Engereros. Yeah, Kaha, you created him in FIFA 2022. Yeah, Kaha, that was fun. I played that. It's 2025 and he signed for Hellas Verona. Like, he's come out of nowhere. Like,
That's
crazy because they literally sign randomly generated players. They sign players like Gianluigi Baggio, you know what I those kind of fake players, man.
Gennaro Buffon.
shit like that, you know.
That's great. Clarence Jankulovsky. But anyway, just the last thing I would say about Lecce is obviously Kristovic seems to be on his way out of Serie A as well. I believe it's the Premier League. That's right.
Leeds
As
are
well.
very important. Leeds are going for a lot of Serie A.
Because they just made it back up to,
Yeah.
and they, for the past 2 seasons, the 3 Prem clubs that got promoted got relegated.
Immediately.
Even though they make 100 million from the playoff final, shut up. It's clearly not working. But they've gotten Camarda, obviously on loan from Milan with an option to buy for like 3 million, but then Milan can buy him back for 4 million.
I think we're gonna move on to our favorite segment, everyone's favorite time.
Favorite segment of the week. It's time for
wisdom with the wank.
Oh yeah.
Wank for us.
No, what?
What the hell?
Pause.
That wasn't even me, I swear. Thanks,
So
Nick.
And soon introducing Wisdom with the Wife. Very soon.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, starring Shalanoglu's wife. So this is a selfie taken in 2017 from our boy Samir Wanko, of course, one of the greatest African players to ever grace Serie A. And he captioned it, looking into the future calmly. Mind you, it's never safe looking into the future with the eyes of fear. Hashtag calmness. Hashtag inner peace. Hashtag positive mind. Hashtag. And all the hashtags are one word. There are no spaces in my
Handling that guy at the end, everything is blew apart, all that blast hashtag. It's fucking brilliant. I love Simi so much.
This is a good one. That is a good quote. They're all good quotes, but this is a strong one.
Because if you look into the future with fear, you're going to make decisions based off of fear. And if you make decisions based off of fear, you simply completely deplete the chance of you surprising yourself. And isn't that the best feeling when you do something you think you can't do and you end up surprising yourself? What better way to create self-confidence? Wisdom with the one.
How can Simi? What I will ask you is nowadays many people suffer from anxiety, right? I have many a friend, and they how can one look into the future calmly? What advice do you guys have? Since I can't ask Simi directly, maybe I can ask Nick and Matt. The one.
How can you look into the future?
Look at the
calmly?
future. Let's say, for example, I don't.
With the cost of living, the ever increasing cost of living.
You've got an important meeting. You've got an important project. You've got a test, an exam, something. How can one remain calm?
I'm gonna say one word before you say anything, bro.
Okay.
That's preparation.
Okay, that's a great one. That's a great one, I would say. Wow, you've got me there. I would say enthusiasm. Because like when I have something I'm excited for, enthusiastic about, it kind of eases my mind on the future. So like I do it a lot with things unrelated to what I'm doing. So like I don't know, in general, I just look forward to things rather than look to be like, I don't know, like a trip planned or something like that. I think that's the best way to take your mind off things and mind off the future, that you're looking forward to something and something exciting is on the way.
Yes, and you can change your outlook.
Exactly.
Like
exactly.
that.
It's all about perspective.
Yes, life is a mirror, Lana.
I think also like literally a really good way to look at things is if you want confirmation, think of it logically. Separate yourself. Have one side of you that thinks of it with all the factors in mind, and then say, okay, if I want to think of this only from a logical, facts-based perspective, what makes most sense? And you will notice if you stop that. If you always zoom in on their faces, and you make me laugh when I'm getting to a point.
We're going, that was doing me, you know?
If you think of it logically, you will understand that if you look into the future with a significant amount of doubt and no self-belief, it's going to decrease your chances.
Of course.
If you don't go into it wholeheartedly and analyze the risks and use those risks to prepare adequately to get better results, then fear it. Then fear it, and you'll quickly see what fearing the future does.
I'll give you one of my own quotes before we close off. The wolf you feed is the wolf that wins. And that is very true.
Guys, I really enjoyed this episode. Nick, how long was the episode this week?
2 hours and 16 minutes. 16. Okay, not 16. Said that badly.
Shall we name it Bohemian Rhapsody? Because about the episode that was 1 hour 40.
Ah, yes. But back then, that was a lot, right? So I much prefer it, of course, when we have games to cover, but these are just fun because we can just go off the rail.
Yeah.
So we have less.
Typically, we're every single match, every single team, every single week, right?
Yeah.
Any plans for next week?
Not yet. You're away, right?
I am away from midweek
Mm.
and you are away on the weekend.
Yeah, I'm away all weekend.
Yeah.
And which leaves us Monday and Tuesday free, both of you.
No, I'm away. I get back on Monday. I'm free Tuesday. Nick is technically free Tuesday, but you're between
Not
like,
really, because I'm I wake up very early, like 1 a.m.
fuck that. You don't have time. You're young. You land Monday and fly Wednesday.
We might have to record what do you call it, an old school one, or we'll see what we'll do.
We'll
figure
figure it out.
Mm.
We'll figure it out.
See,
We always figure it out.
see. But anyway, thank you very much, guys, if you've made it this far. Comment. Shakira is Matt's least favorite girl from Love Island UK.
What? No, I'm joking.
Yeah,
I would-
do that so that we'll know if you're OGs or not. Thank you very much. We'll see you next week, and we love you all so much. Bye bye.
If you like Serie A or have ever liked it in the past, it's a good opportunity for you to listen once a week and you'll get filled in.
In the football weekend, that's like the main dish. But then a few days later, you drop your episode and that's like the dessert. And the dessert is just perfect.
It's good, the cake.
It makes it feel like we're all sitting in a room together, just BSing with each other.
The atmosphere is fantastic.
I promise nobody will ask you to send boob pics.
Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit.
I love how you go into so much detail and show so much passion towards each and every team. Literally, no team is left undiscussed.
When I listen to you, it's like I'm talking to you in a pub. It's like I'm chatting to a friend and you're chatting to me.